here we go. Semifinal number 2, King of the Desert 4. And this is going to be sweet stuff. We've got lots of elevation on this map, Gen, but lots of wood lines. The Viper, who has won King of the Desert before, looking to return to his throne, playing as the Vietnamese in his yellow. Jordan in the blue, playing as the Incas, Dave. Great game here.
Yeah, and Jordan's coming forward with the Eagle right away. I wonder if he finds his goats first or just goes right towards Viper's base, because Viper, as the Vietnamese, is heading immediately towards Jordan. And one thing I noticed about Vinchester is that he went forward to lame every single game, Tristan. But if he couldn't find the 2 goats, he just went back right away.
Yeah.
He never even attempted to take the rhino or elephant. He just spared like 20 seconds to go forward, find his opponent. And if he couldn't find the goats, he didn't care.
And both these civs could be ranked pretty high up there with laming potential. Vietnamese know where the TC is, and then Incas have the Eagle. But, you know, I heard Viper talk about it 2 days ago. Actually, no, it was yesterday. Someone had asked him, it was like, hey, like, are you and Jordan going to have a mutual agreement not to lame each other? Because you both typically don't lame, and you're good friends. And Viper's like, no. I feel like it would be really
Semifinals.
bad for the, yeah, I feel like it'd be really bad for the spirit of the tournament to just have that type of agreement. And I think both of us are going to go out there to win. And the Jordan kind of returns the favor here. And the difference here, Dave, is actually the fact that Viper tried to scout Jordan before he scouted his own resources. If Viper would have scouted the front of his base first, these goats would never be heading towards Jordan's base. Sick.
And I think he did kind of scout the front of his base, though. I mean, he went forward with
a little of it, yeah.
And then he came back. He just missed the goats. He's going to find the 2 at the back. And I think with Vietnamese, you're going to be disappointed you can't take anything from your opponent, but you'll be happy against Incas, against an Eagle civilization, that you still have both your elephants available and you have 6 goats.
Yeah, as far as the civs go here, I really like both of them. And I think that either civilization could thrive, but when I think Incas versus Vietnamese, I just think about those Eagles. And normally Vietnamese struggle a little bit against Eagle play. Granted, Vietnamese do have elephants. They do also have champions, so there's options. But I think we've seen a few times over the years where Vietnamese get all in. But apart from that, Vietnamese have arguably better eco with the cheaper eco upgrades. And we know Viper likes to boom. And he has a really good map. He's got his berries on the back. He's got his gold on the back too. And I could see him walling it up.
Yep. And I think for the sake of this series and for the viewers and for our time in general, I think it would be better if we get less of these 4 woodline generations between these 2 players. There's certain people that will go more aggressive in general, but these players are not it for sure.
Yep,
these
I agree
guys,
with
if
you.
they see 4 woodlines, they will wall up, they will defend.
So I encourage viewers, if they ever have time to kill and have interest, of course, to go back and watch the Viper versus Jordan best of 21 at some point. It was a best of 21 that went to game 21. In 2014, 2015, these guys were number 1 and number 2, and it was like you could hardly even say who number 1 was at that point. They were so unbelievably close. And Viper said yesterday as well, he said that nowadays he definitely feels like he goes in as the favorite, like maybe 60-40 favorite, but they still play so similarly. And it was just so crazy back then, Dave, because there were less civilizations, and I think the meta was more wall heavy too. So it was just like the same exact thing from both players every single game. It was like they were robots. So cool to watch.
Viper almost lost that Bill. He had to do the house trick. He was paying attention
Oh,
somewhere
did he?
else, maybe.
Yeah. I was just over here assuming everything would be fine, telling a story. Not bad. There's the barracks for Viper. This looks like a feudal age play, and Jordan out across the map right now with militia. The classic 2 militia drush we've seen a lot of in this tourney. I don't think Viper saw the militia, Dave. I think he sees the barracks, but I'm not so sure he knows about the militia.
And I think with this timing, it's a bit tough to figure out if that's a drush or if that's a preemptive barracks for men-at-arms.
That's a great point. And Viper's going to get the walls down anyways. That's the difference between 0 vills killed and maybe even 2 vills killed there. Good work from Viper.
Viper getting loom, and he's going to be up a little bit quicker, and he will be going for men-at-arms most likely. Queues up a couple villagers behind this.
Interesting.
All right, and he goes for the militia now. So I guess now that he knows Jordan is going for a drush, he's going to adapt a little bit and stay in the Dark Age for a little while longer, get militia of his own, and then go up to feudal. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think I would prefer the other way around, Dave. I'd prefer he go up to Feudal, and while he's on his way to Feudal, make the Militia. But at the end of the day, he is going to be on the way up. Jordan is as well. Very slick build here from Jordan. Double lumber camp, villagers going to gold. And expect a lot of that from these two players. I don't think we're going to see a ton of mistakes. I think that this is just going to be small advantages in Feudal to small advantages in Castle and then all the way to Imp. That's going to be this series here.
All right, Viper heading in, full HP scout. And there's a few villagers on the berries he could potentially hit, but I think Jordan should be able to save those. Plus, the gold is so close to the TC. Like, one house next to that villager, and Viper can't go around on the right side of that gold. He's going to choose not even to engage over there. It's just way too close. Jordan can always save those villas. He's going to head over to the berries. Meanwhile, Viper's barracks, it's being attacked, but plenty of HP left. He should be fine.
I think Jordan had pre-walled because he knew Man-at-Arms would come out, but he doesn't see the flag at home, so he's surprised by this this arrival from Viper, and maybe that's why Viper added the 2 militia when he did. As had Eddie waited, Jordan would not have been surprised like this, but good job from Jordan. Doesn't lose the Vil, gets the walls up, and again, just these guys are so good with damage control.
And just enough villager idle time to make sure he's safe, and then they'll go right back to work. Keep that efficiency up, and there's the archer range from Viper. He's not hiding anything. With Vietnamese, you gotta know it's gonna be an archer range, but he put that right beside the militia from Jordan. And he'll get his eco upgrades, and then he'll be starting to produce range units a little bit quicker than Jordan does, as Jordan needs to pre-wall his villager around that archer range.
And these are the differences that are going to decide this set. You have Viper with the faster archer range, also Viper a little faster with some of the farms, and that first archer comes out as Viper quick walls. He had over chopped. Well done there. You know, if those archers start to snowball, players are still exposed. I think you're right that we will eventually see full wall, but for now, archers could always run in.
Yep. And that's the benefit. I mean, that's the part of the 2 militia drush, right? It keeps the walls open as much as the 3 militia drush does. And you get up to the feudal age a little bit quicker. You can get the archers behind. Someone said my volume is low on your stream, by the way. I don't know.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry about it. Thanks for letting me know. I saw the comment
here,
as well.
You know, to tell me about the settings. It's fantastic.
Oh God. Well, Dave, the only build up from this is: do we see second range? Do we not see second range? And then do we see the Inca player be tempted to maybe go for something like Eagle? So there is a lot of different things that can happen from this, but we'll have to wait and see.
The problem with Eagles with a map like this is if Viper ever gets fully walled, they're going to feel pretty underwhelming, right? Especially if he still has a mass of archers. You want to play Eagles if the map is open.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think for now, Viper's just gone full macro. His farms are almost perfect. He's got 11 of them. He still has his berries. You look at Jordan, I don't think his farm count is looking quite as good. He's relying a little bit more on walling, so maybe that would just be the difference between the two right now.
Yeah, but they build faster.
Wait, what builds faster?
Farms? Did they take that away?
Oh, for Incas. Okay, no, I said walls, and my dumbass was like, since when do Incas build walls faster? Like, what are you talking about, Dave? No, I think the farms actually do build faster.
Yeah, they do.
I think that'll be replaced, though, because it is one of the weirdest, dumbest team bonuses in the game, and Incas lack a little bit of an identity, so I wouldn't surprise me if that gets changed at some point.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like, in many ways, it hurts you more than it helps, too. Because you bank on getting Horse Color and then seeding your farms, right? And then you seed all your farms and you realize Horse Color didn't come in because they build faster.
I actually had just checked Jordan's farms because I was like, wow, that's a really good call. Yeah. Well, looking at the food right now, it's looking better for the Viper. It has been a very, very safe series, man. And exactly what we expected from these two because this is Viper and this is Jordan.
Someone just said Squires affecting villagers for Incan team bonus. No.
Guys, there's a reason they only let so many people in the group.
No.
Yeah, that would be Eagle Central, you know? Imagine Mr. Yo with that. Mr. Yo gets Squires, and then he just sends forward villagers into all the corners to make siege workshops.
Yeah. Or imagine a Bohemians ally, where it's a team bonus too.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Good job from Viper, because that was a risky moment for him.
Yeah.
He almost lost his army, but he noticed Dave, and man, his macro has been so good. And this is what I had said. I think Jordan's going to have to be a bit more aggressive to beat the Viper, because if it's this type of game, this is Viper's sweet spot.
Well, it's kind of Jordan's sweet spot too. Like booming up, just forcing good decision making.
Yeah.
From his opponent and going for strategy rather than just pure execution like we see in the early game. And Jordan's going to be fully walled. Viper will be in Castle Age about 20 seconds earlier. A villager count in Jordan's favor, but that's basically because of some idle TC time for Viper and the wheelbarrow upgrade.
Now imagine, so I forget the exact year that spectating was possible in live games for Age of Empires 2. I
2011.
I was going to say, I think it was 2011, 2012. Imagine figuring out not only that spectating exists, but that Age of Empires is still alive. And then you sit down and you load up that best of 21 and you see players playing this flawlessly.
Yeah.
Like, I just remember being completely mystified. And, oh no, Jordan's going to lose a villager here. And now his armies run forward and hit walls, Dave. And Viper finds some damage that he probably shouldn't have found. And now Jordan doesn't have army here. This is really tough for the German.
There's nothing. And remember, Viper's going to be up to Castle Age first. So he's going to have these upgrades about 20 seconds before Jordan. He'll choose to leave here, I think, unless Jordan loses a skirmisher early. The scout is still there from Viper, so that's going to be really helpful in this situation. I think he's just going to choose to be annoying at the back, and Jordan not finding any damage of his own at the front, and now he's going to have to pull back because he knows Viper will have crossbow and bodkin before he does.
So good from Viper. So many players would continue to run in, but Viper, he's one villager kill for Viper is like 2 villager kills for anyone else, because he knows that that will bring him another good fight and another lead, and it just continues. Always.
Also, just keeping Jordan distracted at the back. Like, look at all that idle time you just forced.
Exactly, yeah.
Jordan. And now you're going to the other wood line. These skirmishers are at the back. They're not coming forward. Jordan deletes to leave there. I think that might be an overreaction with the skirmishers here from him anyway.
Viper a little late with crossbow. You would have expected that upgrade to come in faster, but the starting scout getting some value for him.
And Jordan losing all his army at the front. Oh my goodness, he didn't pay attention. That's disastrous. And now Viper has the force at the back that Jordan has to deal with. Getting crossbow now for Jordan, and Jordan losing his mass at the front. Viper has control of that hill. This looks really rough for Jordan at the moment.
Viper's so technical, so clean. Also, you have to say, Vietnamese, they have the better setup for this type of a game. With their eco upgrades being cheaper, with their archers having more HP, Incas probably would want to be going for some other unit. And Jordan's trying to go skirms here, Dave, but he does not have the skirms he needs in the back. He doesn't have the skirms he needs in the front yet. It looks like he's going to try and loop around here, but he has no stone, remember. So he cannot add TCs. He sold his stone to have a later Castle Age than Viper.
And Jordan just now getting that second armor upgrade. Lost the skirmisher at the back. Viper getting ballistics, and he's going to take another villager at the front. That's only 3 villager deaths. Now, there's all this aggression here. He's only killed 3 villagers, but he's distracted the army from Jordan for so long.
Yep.
And he's caused a lot of idle time, and now he's in at the front again. And he's also pressuring a little bit at the left, just being annoying with 1 crossbow.
Honestly, Viper will continue to take these fights until he sees +2 armor, which he'll see now. Yep. And some players will add siege, but the old meta, like 2016, 2017, was just match the skirms. Because you know you have ballistics, and I guess if you're Vietnamese, you have extra HP. So he just makes his own skirms, and I think we'll see elite skirm from Viper. Dave, I don't know when the shift was, but there was that period of vulnerability for Viper. And we say vulnerability, meaning he doesn't win literally everything. Coming 1 game short of winning the Hidden Cup 4 semi, you then had the Red Bull events.
You mean you don't know when that shift was?
Well, I know, okay, Red Bull 1. Okay.
Mr. 4-0.
Yeah, that's okay. That's true. That's true. But anyways, it shifted back over the last couple months. Like, I'm seeing a Viper that wasn't there for half of 2020, maybe half of 2021. I mean, this is just so clean. Everything from the eco upgrades to the timing to the military.
Jordan. Viper adding a third TC now. He's going back to that wood line. He's also pressuring at the front. So Jordan's a little bit distracted. Jordan has TC over there, but he's distracted at the front. And this gives time for Viper to come in, snag 2 villagers. Third villager goes down. Jordan still hasn't noticed this. That's a 4th villager before he garrisons.
That's 8 total villagers Viper has killed, and Viper now dominates the battlefield. So Viper has 3 TCs. Viper has the greater army, both in upgrades and in numbers.
He's got 3 different armies.
Yeah, 3 different armies as well, and this is typically where Viper just snowballs his way to victory, Dave. I love his food eco and his wood eco. He's going to have so many farms soon. He really doesn't need that much gold anymore to go for the kill, because Jordan can't even deal with the crossbows Viper has on the map.
When I was doing that Age 4 event the other day, Lita quoted a tweet from Nilly that said, "When you're ahead, get farther ahead." And then I corrected him and I said, that's not a Viper quote.
Yeah.
Right? And then chat corrected me and said, that's a quote from Artosis. And I was like, oh, never mind, my bad. It's a quote from Artosis. And then everyone's like, no, Sun Tzu said it first. And there was like this whole battle in the chat.
I mean, to be honest, it's not like, that's not a quotable comment.
It's not deep.
It's not that deep. Like, it's not, no offense to anyone who's ever said that. We both have said that, but I don't know if that can really be given to one person in particular.
Yeah, but that's what's happening right here.
Yeah.
Viper got ahead, and he's getting further ahead. And he has the better, like you said, the better civ for archers, for range composition. Much better than Incas. Incas want to be going into Eagles in a situation like this against Vietnamese. And he's got the better economy behind it, too.
And he's not making any big mistakes. Like, he's adding the siege to stay further ahead, but a lot of players might try and think YOLO castle drop, and they're going to toss a bunch of vills on stone. But that's a way where your food and wood and gold eco falls behind. So he's just trickling onto stone. Like, literally everything, from the placement to the numbers to the maneuvering, has been perfect from Viper.
I'd love to see Jordan do anything but what he's doing right now. I don't think you win this game with just skirm production.
I think
you
he
need to
needed
switch
siege.
it up somehow.
Yeah. I think the second he loses those vills on that right wood line, he needs to realize that there's no world in which he outmasses Viper with skirms, and he needs to try siege, but it might be too late now.
Oh, it's definitely too late. Look at this from Viper. He is not afraid. Viper was pulling back before, but now he's going all in with this army. Jordan is really struggling, and Viper has the Mangonel behind, and that siege workshop from Jordan just a little bit too late. Now Viper is in between his production buildings and the main force of military, so Jordan is going to have trouble reinforcing. Viper's going to sit on this gold at the front. Does Jordan have any other options? He's going for a third TC way out to the right side. And where is the other gold for Jordan?
Well, his main gold's gone.
Oh, it's to the right of that one wood line.
Yep, I see that. Yeah, so he can't take 2 out of his 3 gold. Actually, he can't take any of his golds. So that's an issue. He'll probably be using the market. For Viper, I think it's just a bit more of the same. Jordan probably will continue to play this one until it gets a whole lot worse, but it seems to me like Viper's going to clear it up. Gets another villager kill there. Mangonel's in position where Jordan doesn't realize, next to the ranges.
So 2 Mangonels basically covering that gold at the front. The other Mangonel is on the other gold to the right. And Jordan now is just forced to keep going into skirms. And that was a great shot from Viper. And Jordan just calls the GG. That was domination, honestly.
This is why Jordan can't try and play the way he did back in 2015 against Viper. 47 to 18 KD for Viper. He led in every single statistic, really. I think he had more upgrades. Oh, excuse me. He didn't have the second blacksmith upgrade, so technically he's behind in
less
blacksmith
exploration.
Upgrades. Oh, yeah? Okay, sorry. Viper's such a noob. But overall, Viper just destroyed him. I think it's easy for me to say Vietnamese are probably better for playing into this as well, just because Viper made it look so good. I think Vietnamese played its part, but for Jordan, maybe don't go Drush. Go Man-at-Arms. Go into Skirms. Go into Eagles. Get the ball rolling for what works for you a bit earlier than just falling back like you do there.
Yeah, if you're in a skirm v skirm battle against Vietnamese, you've already lost, I think.
Yeah. The other thing as well is maybe don't move out with your army if you're not fully walled, because that first army getting in is kind of what started Jordan's struggle. Jordan took a risk and went forward. Viper was walled, and then Jordan wasn't walled, and that was kind of where it started. And Anyways,
It's
Jordan's
what
gotta forget about that now and just plan for game 2. But that looks so
it's
good.
what you
for
talked
Viper.
about before, though. The weakness for Jordan sometimes is he tries to toe that line between efficiency and need, right? And sometimes he gets a little bit greedy.
Yep.
And if you find that window, you can exploit it if you're in Viper's position. Viper does the same thing, though.
Yeah, but I think Jordan, the Viper's probably better at it, which is why Jordan shouldn't try and play that game. Now, what Jordan tried to do in that game was he tried to sell his stone and buy food. And in theory, you're going to have a faster uptime with that. But that didn't even happen because that's how clean Viper's Feudal Age was.
All right. The game link still isn't working, but I was able to find the game, thank God.
Okay.
And we have a classic Viper civilization here. Britain's playing as the yellow color, and he's going to be matching up against Jordan as the Khmer.
Ooh, okay, so Britons do lack mobility, but Britons are also the best civilization when it comes to snowballing a push. Maybe not the best, but they're up there. So this game, Jordan cannot play the same game as Viper. He can't let Viper wall up. He can't let Viper move out with ranged units. He'll need to make it a different game. I'd really like to see a scout opening here from Jordan and just make it messy with the Khmer.
Yep, get some Scorpions on the field too. That extra range actually really comes in handy against Britons.
Yeah, and I think this is an all-in type of game too, Dave. There might be a situation where Jordan has to go 3 stables instead of 2. Lots of siege, lots of knights. I think for Britons, it's not the cheap TCs that makes the difference. It's the archer mass. So frequently, I'll see people fall back with 3 TCs with Britons, but only have 10 crossbows, and they'll just die anyways. So Viper's going to go archers. Most likely, we'll see what Jordan can accomplish.
Okay, 10 seconds. And I wonder what the map is going to look like. If we get like that Leary Vinchester series, we got open maps almost every single game.
We did. I hope we get that. The 4 woodline one is a little... I mean, it suits Viper, that's for sure. But it can be a little lame sometimes. And it looks like we've got lots of woodlines, but it is more open towards the front with some gigantic ponds in play here. So Jordan in the blue again. Thank God they're picking these colors. These colors are so good.
Dude, that is so unfortunate for Jordan to have the 2 pawns in his woodlines, and then you look at Viper's pawns and they're just like little turtles.
Yeah, I spoke to Krzini about it, in truth, because I was salty after I played a ranked game and all my woodlines had pawns. And he actually said that it's not, like, while it does often come to be that there's 2 pawns for one person and 2 pawns for the other, it's not always structured like that. So there's actually more pawns in this Arabia than I've ever seen. You've got one towards the left, one towards the middle. But for Jordan, his pawns are huge, like you said, Dave. So the back woodlines actually are there for Viper. God.
What are the birds doing over Jordan's pawns? What the hell? Is this like... Is this a confab? What is going on?
They can get stuck on each other. I've seen it before, and I've seen like 3 or 4 birds just stuck there an entire game once. But okay, they're going south for the winter.
No, these ones can't decide.
Why are they stuck there, though? That's what I've never asked a map scripter about. Like, what do they get stuck on?
Birds. Literally all the birds on the map. Are they going to combine together? We got 2 of them flying together. I feel like they're all going to combine into an omega bird at some point.
I mean, that and the ponds will all converge to be a lake. There's so much of things that shouldn't exist here. Is this like a bugged map? There's more ponds than there should be, and there's more birds, and they're all running the same way?
Dude, they're flying, but they're getting close to each other. Look at it. There's 2 of them on top of each other right there, flapping together, and the others are getting close.
Wait, they're like shifting now.
Jordan, I wonder if Jordan sees this and he's like, what? Look at
I mean, come on. How can you miss that? How can you miss that? You can see it in your fog of war. Oh, my God. I don't even want to talk about the rest of the game, but I think we should at least mention that Jordan's woodlines are going to be disastrous. He doesn't have a single back woodline against the Civ with the longest range archers in the game. It is so bad.
They're slowly getting closer to each other, Tristan.
There's also 2 like seagull looking birds, and then there's
maybe this bird will come from the side and like interrupt all of this.
Oh wait, yeah. Look at the one in the back. He's like,
he's in it now. Oh no, dude, he's going the wrong direction.
Oh, here comes Viper. Viper's gonna scout it. Let's see how good Viper's scouting intel is. Great scouting of the bird from Viper. This is why these two are so good. And he's sitting on the hill where the birds are. Come on, say something.
Is he just looking at this like, what?
Come on. Oh, wait. One has gone off path, Dave. He's left the group.
Yeah, that was the weird one that came in late.
Oh, was he always weird? I missed it. Okay.
Yeah, he's weird. Anyway, looks like a pretty standard opening for both. Viper is going to make his way up to Feudal Age. He's not going to go for a drush, it doesn't look like. Jordan doesn't look like he's going to go for a drush either, so we can continue to watch the birds. That bird is coming back. I wonder if it's going to get looped in here into the cycle again.
Thank you, Capturage, for letting us follow birds. It actually looks really nice.
He's in it again. He's in the line again. He's joined.
What in the world, dude? I think we're going to see scouts from both, by the way, because 3 on wood from Britons indicates a pretty fast uptime. Viper may be thinking that the Khmer scout rush is dangerous and he doesn't want to go archers but be up much later. I've never seen anything like this, ever. Not this many birds.
I watched an arena game where the birds went crazy, but it was only like 4 birds. It wasn't this many.
What's so funny to me is you remember the old bird meme where occasionally a bird would get caught in the corner?
Yeah.
So the devs fixed that. And I was like, no, of all the bugs to fix, they fixed that. But apparently there's a new bird meme back. This might have to do with
really
Krazini.
Weird, dude. I wish that Gaia still had a line of sight where you could lame boars, because if you lame the rhino, you could just send your scout back to your base and it would be following you forever.
No,
you
you still do have Gaia line of sight, by the way. You can use Capture Age and you can switch position by clicking a lion or relic.
No, I know that, but I wish that it would still apply to the boar laming.
Oh, I see. No, it does, I think.
No, it doesn't. Not anymore.
Really?
I think they took that out.
I think it has to do with the map script, to be honest. But anyways, we can get to that later. Birds will just be in the back of our minds as we cast this. So 20 pop up for Jordan, and then 19 pop up for Viper. Viper's going with a faster scalp. Oh no, excuse me. He's not going for a fast scout build, Dave. He's going to gold. He's going to go archers.
Yeah, he's just going to go 1 archer range.
Archer spear could be pretty strong against this.
Yep.
Jordan did see the mining camp, though. There's a world where maybe Jordan opens with a range.
Dude, it's so tough for me to cast this game right now, Tristan. I just want to look at these birds, and we have to pay attention to the game, and I feel like they're going to be there all game.
Listen, if you want to give me the bird update, I'm okay with that. Every minute, go for it. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll update you every so often.
Okay, Jordan just did something that I think is really bad. He's put his villagers within the gold. So he would have to delete his mining camp to leave the gold.
Yep.
I think that's a fine move if you're up against a scout build. But if you ever don't have archers to protect your villagers now, you have to delete the mining camp to leave.
He also sent his scout forward to Viper's base, and Viper had his scout there. So he gets the early hits with the Feudal Age upgrades. Yep. And he's going to push him back. Viper now sees that it's 1 archer range play for Jordan with the Khmer. So maybe a little bit unexpected there. And he's going to scout both wood lines, go around to the back. There's no houses on those wood lines either from Jordan. So he's going to have to send him all the way back to his CC if he wants him to be safe.
Viper has got to be loving life when he sees this map. He's Britons, and there's not a single back wood line for the enemy. And then he's got like 4 back wood lines. This is a classic Viper map hacks here, man. Viper and Jordan went for the wood and farm upgrade. This is kind of a new meta thing. We've seen it in King of the Desert where people will go for eco upgrades that you would normally only get with scouts. Yep. They do it on the back of an archer build.
I think a lot of that depends on your opponent too.
I agree.
Right? If you suspect that your opponent is not going to put on crazy amounts of early pressure, then you could get away with it. Especially if you're going 1 archer range, because you can usually defend against most things with a barracks and an archer range.
Okay, why haven't they said anything yet? I would expect at least
know.
Viper to say something. Like, come on.
Yep.
But anyways, Jordan scouting the range. He does not know there's skirms in there. It's just not a straight skirm opening for Viper, but he went 4 skirms. Now he's mixing in archers.
All right. And he's going to send the skirms over to the right here. So he's going to defend while his villager walls.
Okay.
And then have the archer over to the left. Is he planning a little counterattack there while he distracts with the skirmishers in the middle? Seems like they just should be together, right?
Dude, he scouted the mining camp. If he just tracks Jordan's army and sits there with archers on the gold, Jordan has to either accept 2 villager losses, or Jordan needs to delete the mining camp.
The birds, they're gone.
What? Oh, they went different directions. That was
Wonder
so
what
weird.
happened.
I'm not sure if I'm more or less confused. It's one thing if they stay there the whole game, but why all of a sudden do they leave?
I like the fact that Jordan has a skirmisher near his gold.
Yeah, I do
It's
too.
like he can sense it, right? He's like, oh, there's only skirms from Viper.
Yep.
Huh, there's no archers mixed in? Interesting. Where am I vulnerable? Right, I'm vulnerable on the gold. I need to keep at least one unit there. My villagers will be trapped in if he shows up with archers. So I'll be fine with at least one skirmisher.
Viper's going to give an attempt here, but Viper should also know that Jordan's near the gold, so he's got to be sneaky here. It might not be the worst move for Viper to show his hand, because then Jordan has to pick a side. It's hard for Jordan to send his new skirmishers to the main group right now because of Viper's positioning.
Viper's going to go back to that mill, and I think he can trap that one villager in if Jordan doesn't notice. Okay, Jordan noticed right away. Viper's not going to be able to get any vill picks. He's trying to engage at the front with his scout, but Jordan has 2 archers there, so he should have the advantage, and Viper is going to need to fall back a little bit. Saying that, though, Viper did get an archer kill.
Man, Viper's micro is just better, Dave. If you were watching, the scout is moving back and forth. Now the archers run away. Now his macro has been slipping a bit compared to Jordan in this game. Jordan's got quite a few farms out already. And Jordan didn't lose any villagers. So I think Jordan will be okay there. And sometimes that's all the difference as Viper loses the scout, making the KD 1-1. But yeah, this is again a game where Jordan is playing the exact same way as the Viper. And if it continues to be ranged units, it does get worrisome, normally, for the Khmer.
Jordan clearing up all of that stuff over in the north. He was housed for a little second there, but he should be fine. And now he's got the military advantage, so he's going to push out. But Viper will have more waiting on this hill. Viper's resources looking pretty good, but Jordan's looking a lot better. That Khmer farm income is really kicking in.
Yeah, and I think that Viper just, when he was focusing on the micro, he started to float some wood. He had about 350 wood at one point. Didn't have that farm count, as we see both players microing skirms. And Jordan, if he can get to elite skirm before Viper's in a position with crossbows, that could be pretty good. So I think he's definitely fallen into a position where he doesn't have to YOLO with the market like he did in game 1. He has better control over the game. He at least knows that Viper won't be able to sneak an army like Viper did in game 1 either.
I'd love to see Viper go for a market here. He doesn't have one. He could, like, after wheelbarrow is done, he could buy his way up with the market. I would love to see that. Unfortunately for him, Jordan will be clicking up first.
Yep.
Jordan's going to be at least 30 seconds ahead of Viper, if not more. So he might have a good position when Castle Age comes around, where he can get elite skirm like you were talking about, and then grab that hill maybe at the front of Viper's base.
Viper went double range, Dave. So he went double range in Feudal. Jordan is just now adding the second range. So Jordan could have the farms earlier, essentially, and now he gets to fall back, and I think this works out for Jordan. Jordan, if he were to have half his army in the middle, would be exposed. I'd like to see a wall from the edge of the map to that house near his mill, though. He probably won't do it. Maybe that's just me, but I could see Viper sneaking over there.
Viper's trying to sneak on the gold, and I think he suspects that Jordan will be up quicker than he does, or than he is. So he's going to try and buy himself enough time, and he's actually a minute and a half behind to the Castle Age, but he does have wheelbarrow, so villager count is even. Viper with the wheelbarrow advantage should have the superior economy. It's just whether he can hold on till he gets the Castle Age and gets those upgrades. This is really good. He's buying himself seconds by pushing Jordan's army back like this.
This is such a good spot for Jordan because the lead skirm takes a very long time to complete, but he'll have time for that and the upgrades. I think what Jordan needs to think about now is what does he do if Viper goes with knights in the next stage, which Viper may or may not do at this point. But great fights for Jordan. The splits from Jordan, he will get Viper as Viper runs away. He still hasn't lost a unit. Will kill another one. And now he has the upgrades coming in, and Viper has to run back with his tail between his legs here, Dave. This is horrible for Viper.
I mean, Viper got some kills there, but definitely losing more. And Jordan now with the advantage. Does Jordan track this army down, or do you just go to Viper's base right now? I think you go to Viper's base, and Jordan agrees. He's going to go that way, keep a few skirmishers over to the right side. I don't know what these villagers are doing from Jordan, way up in the north. Maybe thinking about a TC. There it is.
That's interesting because it does give you another option for gold that Viper might not be able to take you off of. Viper needs knights here, Dave. I think he needs to go crossbow knight. He's trying to keep that mass alive, but he only has 11 archers. It's not that a lot. He has to abandon his farms right now, and Viper's even leaving the gold.
You need a siege workshop here, I think. You can't go knights right now. He's going for a TC, okay? These skirmishers, once Jordan gets +2, can just simply run under these TCs, and there's the siege workshop from Viper. He managed to save a decent amount of his army up at the top here. 9 units, clears up that final elite skirm, and Jordan goes for ballistics. He's diving inside of Viper's economy, but he won't find much.
I don't like the Scorpion edition, excuse me, from Viper. He might not have had the gold for the Mangonel because his gold count's low, but I personally would have preferred to see a Mangonel. The skirms actually do pretty well against Scorpions, and Viper's going to get a shot in there. Jordan will know that and run away. Cheap TCs for Britons. Viper will go for 3 TCs, but it's not as if he's going to have the eco to produce out of all of them for super long. And good spot for Jordan to be in right now.
Yeah, and Jordan sees that 3rd TC too. He scouted it with that 1 skirmisher, so he's going to get a ton of vision. He knew about the 2 TCs before, and he knew about the siege workshop, obviously. So got a good idea on everything that Viper is doing. Viper still has this army, though, on the left side of Jordan's base. Jordan's got to be careful not to just completely ignore that. He does have the +2 on his skirmishers, so it's going to be really tough without elite skirm for Viper to win this.
Yeah, Viper's just going to sacrifice his skirms for the cause and try and run away with his group. Jordan might still track that. 3rd TC for Jordan, who's had a great game with how bad his map was, but I think his map just gets worse, right? Because he's going to need to maintain control of the gold, and then his stone, and then his wood lines, and the other golds forward. So I see some issues long-term for Jordan, and I think that if Viper were to go late Castle Age, light cav, or night play here, Dave, it would be so good. Because Jordan's only going eco and skirmisher right now. Maybe not
Jordan
yet.
Is off on the right side of Viper's base. Viper garrisons. Unfortunate that wood line can be ranged, but he can always... He's got 2 wood lines inside of his base, fully. They can't be ranged. He lost a villager there, so that's a good pick from Jordan. I think he can just shift to the back with those villagers instead of keeping them on that wood.
Viper's done a great job maintaining his crossbow numbers, and his vill count is dead even here. So you're thinking about Britons as they play out throughout a game, and you're normally thinking crossbows as you go up towards Arb. And Khmer do struggle, I think, to know what to spend their gold on, Dave. Siege is what they spend their gold on, but when you think Khmer late game, you think maybe Rams, Hussars, and Skirmishers. They don't really have a super strong gold unit to go for.
Another villager goes down. Jordan does have ballistics, so he was able to snipe that vill. He's gotten decent value out of these skirmishers, but the army from Viper is building. He's got 18 crossbows with that extra Britain range. He's got a mangonel to support, so the skirmishers definitely have to retreat. Siege workshop for Jordan in the middle, and I think he'll need to maybe combine his armies together to try and stop this push from Viper.
Little sloppy for Jordan. I do think that Jordan has the micro to be able to dodge 1 mangonel and just pick off crossbows. But the second there's 2 or 3, it becomes a problem. So I think Jordan should honestly try that right now, because you know that Viper's going to mix in more siege. If you can dodge 1, just take out the crossbows. And
the problem is going to be Viper's attack grounds, and he gets a great one there against Jordan. And Jordan coming in with weak skirmishers, dodges back from that mangonel. Viper, still no ballistics, so Jordan can run circles around these shots. Viper has to be a little bit more careful fighting against Jordan, and Jordan now has a mangonel of his own, but this seems like a standoff in the middle.
It just gets really tricky if you're Jordan, because Viper's crossbows have more range than your siege. And skirmishers do a lot less damage against mangonels than crossbows do against mangonels. So in theory, the fight could be better for Viper, but it's also more expensive because it's gold units, as we see the shot from Viper. And Viper with a big mistake there, Dave.
Yep. Losing that mangonel. He's lucky to have a second one behind. If he didn't, then Jordan could just push out with no concern in the world. He splits around that shot, takes some damage, Gets hit by that shot too. Jordan getting nuked by a couple mangonel shots, and that's keeping him at bay if you're in Viper's position. He's also sending out 2 villagers to repair, which is, I think, really great addition to this army.
But it seems like we're just going to go up towards Imp here if it stays like this, but 1 or 2 shots could always change it. Jordan's keeping the Siege Workshop, pumping out mangonels just as Viper is. Viper, if he would have taken a better engagement the last time around, it would have been, I think, better for him right now, as he's outnumbered by mangonels and there's no repair villagers for Jordan. Jordan needs repair villagers here. Oh, God.
The thing that's going to hurt for Jordan here is that Viper's crossbows can outrange his mangonels.
But his mangonels now go down, Viper, so Viper has to run away, and Jordan should chase this the whole way in. If you've got skirms, follow this the whole way in. This is huge.
Yep. Keep chasing until, especially with ballistics and the +2 armor, keep chasing until you see a mangonel. And then you can back up, but get as much value as possible as Viper continues to retreat. Viper utilizing that Britain range excellently here. Stopping at max range, keeps picking off the skirmishers from Jordan. He's getting map control, though.
Now, Viper's adding stables, Dave. Now, my thought is this a little too late? Because now it seems obvious that you need something more than mangonel crossbow. What will Jordan do to counter this?
Jordan sees the stables, too. Viper pulled him within range of those stables, so Jordan will know what's coming. There's the monastery from Viper going for a monk now to potentially heal up his knights.
1 or 2 mangonel shots for either player could change things. That one mangonel for Viper, if he gets a 1 for 2 and then comes out with Lycav, would be perfect for him. Jordan knows that Viper was going to use the crossbows for the weak one, so he pulled it to the right side.
Jordan's
so good, man. This is such a good game. I love it.
Yep. Jordan is up to Imp, and he's going for stables of his own. Now, does he go into Hussar, or does he go into Cavalier?
Oh, great shot there. Huge shot from Jordan. He expected the dodge from Viper, and now Viper doesn't have too many crossbows as Jordan splits away. And to answer your question, I think Skirm Hussar is how you open this if you're Jordan.
Yep.
Just go full trash units. You don't really have a good gold unit. Upgrading your trash units could kill Viper if Viper's stuck in Castle Age.
I love that. Jordan sacrificed the mangonel. He deleted it, got the full damage. And now suddenly, he's up to Imperial Age first. He has the bigger army. And Viper is struggling to do any sort of damage here. He's already lost 2 villagers to Jordan, so he's ahead in rating. The only place where Viper is leading right now is these 20 villagers past Jordan right now.
And Viper also with defensive castles. He just added one, and he has enough on stone where he's probably going to have castles everywhere. So Viper understands here, Dave, that he will be later to Imp, so he needs to protect himself. I think Jordan's going to be a little late to some of the units we wanted to see. He doesn't have Lycav even researched yet. He's just now adding the stables. He doesn't have any relics. This would be a good time for Viper to get some of those. And
Viper's
Viper with some knights.
Vills.
Yeah.
On the right side, he's going to get in there with the knights. Also has Mangonel Scorpion in the middle. Castle going up with only 2 villagers building it. He knows he can take his time, and the army is at the north side, so maybe he's waiting for those skirmishers to loop around again. I wonder if he'll be surprised by the Imperial Age time from Jordan.
I think Jordan made a mistake, and I think the stables freaked him out too much. Right? Viper didn't have +2, and Viper didn't even show a single knight, and yet Jordan moved the whole way back with his army. Like, I think Jordan could have continued to take fights until he saw the knights and then fell back. But I can understand the hesitancy because he didn't want to lose his army. Somehow, though, Viper will have 2 defensive castles, probably more. Viper's going to have even more light cav than Jordan. And Jordan is mainly going to have skirmishers, so that's perfect for Viper.
Handcart coming in from Viper too, so his economy is going to be far ahead. 134 villagers to 108. There's more archery ranges going down from Viper, and this is a typical Viper base setup.
Yep.
Right? The castles aren't too far forward. He finds the hills at the beginning, at the cusp of his map. He's going to place castles on them, and I wouldn't be surprised to see castles even along that same line, way over to the left side or way over to the right side, to just continue to secure and prevent the raids from the Hussars coming in.
Yeah, I think the castle on the left side is a very Viper castle and a very good late game castle. But I have also seen situations where you might want that third or fourth castle to be in the middle with Britons. Right? Just because of how they operate, if you're far apart from the enemy all the time and just spamming horses, then you prefer Khmer. So I don't really think there's a right answer on that. Viper won't be able to place a castle in the middle right now. Jordan sees the castle, though, with his skirms, which sucks for Jordan because Jordan has the upgrades now. He just can't seem to find the army from Viper.
I think you could justify even a bit later in the game if you're Viper putting a castle, plopping it right down in the middle of your farming eco.
Yeah,
if
maybe.
you're against Khmer, just because you know the raids are going to come in, right? That monk is making his way. He's getting off with the relic.
So we will not have a repeat of Jordan versus Hera game 1. Oh god, that was so funny.
What did Hera say? Get your ass back here.
Something like that. Here goes the raid from Jordan, and Viper's castles have made this so difficult. We have Arbalest now on the way, and he's also getting armor. So this is going to be like having Arbalest. So I think the composition is better for Britons because while they do not get bloodlines on their Lycav, they get full armor. And their Arbalest are insane with their range. It's not like Khmer have good Arbalest. I think the combination for Britons is just better here, but maybe the potential to spam Hussars is there for Khmer. And Siege Ram. Siege Ram's a big one.
Viper going for a very Viper castle over to the left.
Yep.
Along that same line, like I said, he's going to secure his entire economy. Also going to a TC on the right. And this game is exactly how I expected most of this series to pan out.
I agree.
Very late Imperial games. One player having a slight edge. And just waiting for those big Imperial engagements to come.
Maybe a little ambitious from Viper to try and TC this, but he recognizes it's going to be a woodline.
Okay, he didn't get there in time. It was only at 63 HP, but Jordan is going to get here in time to kill the villagers.
Yeah.
Also has some skirmishers behind. He's going to push Viper away. Arbalest should be enough to deal with the Hussar, but maybe not with the skirmishers behind. Viper does have Mangonels there and will likely... Does he go for Onager?
He might be thinking about it, Dave, but for the time being, I don't think it's worth it. The time being, I think you need to get out of here with your arbs. I don't understand why Viper's still sitting here. I feel like Jordan will be very happy with this.
Yeah, Viper also trying to raid with some light cav in Jordan's base, but Jordan notices that, garrisons the TC. He'll take care of those. Skirmishers killing a lot of Arbalests.
That's so weird from Viper. He had 30 plus arbs. It's like he didn't see the skirmishers there. That's such a weird engagement. But Dave, zoom out for a second and look at the wood lines behind castles for Viper, and then look at the wood lines for Jordan. Jordan has to go for the corners and or the middle of the map for wood, like, kind of now. So I think that Viper is just going to turn this into a wood game, honestly.
We're a long way away from that. I mean, Jordan still has a big wood line with the pond at the back of his base.
Yeah, he does have relics, too.
Right? He's still got the stuff at the top that's pretty much under his control. I think if Viper's trying to make a wood game now, he's getting a little bit ahead of himself.
Well, certainly should not have thrown away the arbs. I think that the defensive castles are fine, but Britons only win if they can snowball with a lot of Arbalest and siege or infantry. But Viper is making more Arbalest. Even has some longbows on the field. Jordan got past the
Viper
castles.
Getting raided over on the left. He's going in for a raid of his own at the top, but Jordan notices that. Also important to note that Jordan has 3 relics and another one completely inside his base.
True.
So if this goes long game, Jordan is going to have 4 to 1 relic count in his favor.
Remember, the opening from Viper, he had Arbalest, he had Lightcav. Would it have possibly been better to waltz forward, drop a castle in the middle, and go into a Trebor? Now you've got the Khmer player sitting back with 70 farms compared to Viper's 30, and Jordan's just going to spam these Hussars all day.
Yep. Super dangerous, but also kind of bad for him that Viper now has 5 castles set up in a little line, and every time he raids, he's going to have to go through all of these castles with his Hussar, take a bunch of damage. It's going to be much, much harder for him, and Viper, with 5 castles up, can now focus on the big push, and that's where the Britons want to force this game. They want to have a snowball and want the Khmer to directly engage against them. Yeoman came in for Viper. Blast Furnace is now coming in for Viper. Krebs are in the queue.
I think it's so hard for Jordan to know what he directly engages with right now. it's only been Skirm and Hussar, and Dave with 70 farms. Is there a world where you try and go elephants, maybe?
I mean, maybe.
You
know
have
the relic advantage.
You have the
too.
relics, yeah, exactly. I honestly would really like to see that, but only if he can have a Hussars queued while he queues up elephants, which might take some time. I feel like Viper is an AI right now, getting every single technology, castles all over the map.
Werewolf, like
Werewolf now.
Geez.
If you don't have elite battle elephant, I think you need to have siege ram if you're Jordan. It's just so hard to justify that when you see there's light cav out there, because you know Viper is going to use the light cav against the Rams.
7+2 attack, 2+4 armor for Jordan's Hussar, 2+4 armor for Viper's cav, but all 7+4 attack. So
it's an HP difference, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got 95 HP on Hussar with Bloodlines. You've got 60 HP on Light Cav without Bloodlines.
Oh, Last Furnace is in now. So the Hussar are fully upgraded for Jordan. Viper even walling behind this. Look, he's going to go for a house and trap those Hussar in there.
Jordan is trying. He's making Ballista elephants? I hope this works. Jordan is making Ballista elephants right now.
I mean, the only thing I can think of from Viper that will kill those is Werewolf Trebs, right?
True. And Arbs can hit and run against Ballistas because of the range. But what Viper's going to have to do at some point is get a lot of his trebuchets and push this castle on the right. So
Ballista elephants are great if you get 20, 30 of them. You get all the upgrades, the double scorpion bolts, you get the elite upgrade. But
Siege
the problem
engineers,
with them, and why Tristan was so surprised, is they cost a lot.
I think you can justify it if you have the relics, Dave. And I think another reason that I like Ballistas over Elite Battle Elephant, like I suggested, is because your stables continue to queue Hussars at the same rate. So now you're producing out of the same amount of stables, but also adding castles into the mix. And there you have it. Double crossbow.
Yeah, Jordan's going to attempt to fight a Treb War here, but Viper's got Werewolf.
Yeah, there's just
and
no
Viper
way.
going for gates in front, so the Hussars can't snipe the Trebs. I absolutely love that.
Viper should just go for the Trebs here first, honestly. There's no way you win a Treb War against the Britons. But here come the Ballista Elephants, and Jordan also has a hill, and Viper just continually rebuilding buildings. This is going to be an epic battle. Jordan could maybe do this with Ballistas, as he will have some range behind to hit the Arbs. He's got to get in so close, though.
Trebs going down from Viper. Trebs still surviving from Jordan. The villagers are repairing those, but there's so many Ballista Elephants, and there's so many Hussar, and Viper is being pushed back by Jordan here. Unexpected unit composition from the Khmer player, but it is working.
And it's forcing Viper into a tech switch. Viper now immediately getting infantry upgrades. I don't think even he expected it, but can Viper keep his castles up, Dave? There's still 3 Trebs from Jordan. Viper's castle has to be repaired, but Viper has no no unit to stop the Ballistas.
They're just hunting. They don't care about the light cav. They don't care about the castles. They're hunting the Arbalest. And Viper has to run, has to garrison. The Arbalists aren't doing much damage at all to those. Trebs keep hitting the castle. Viper managed to save his army, and there's a lot of it. There's 78 military on the field from Viper. Can he save this castle? If he does, I think he can push this back again.
Oh, no. How depressing would this be if you're Jordan? You did so well, and now your Trebs are exposed. All of a sudden, Viper's here with light cav. And it's almost like Viper baited him, Dave.
Yeah.
It's almost like Viper baited him. The Ballistas and the Trebs were so expensive for Jordan, and in the end, Viper will still have his castle there, and Viper will still be fine.
Oh my god. Crazy stuff there. Viper versus Jordan, classic matchup. Remember when we saw this in, I believe it was one of the Walolo events, and there was that map with the 2 rivers and the big hill in the middle?
Oh, yes, and it went to the very end. Yeah, that was sick.
Even got the tech for Tatar range on the trebuchets.
Yep. Yeah, that was an amazing game. Viper getting herbal medicine now, so he might heal up some of his weak Arbs inside the castle. Used to be a meme, but nowadays, since they've made changes, it does make a lot of sense.
Elite Ballista Elephant on the way. Let's see I don't even know the change in stats. I'll be interested to see
I think
what it
it's.
is.
I think they get 320 HP, and I think they have 9 base attack. I believe so. Also, he needs siege engineers. But let's see if I remember this correctly. 270 to
278 plus 1, and
310.
now it's 310. Ha! You're so
I'm so
wrong.
bad. I just, God, it's so tough to think of a way to take out this many castles. I think maybe if you have siege ram and you go in with 5 or 10 hussars with 2 or 3 siege rams on the side, while you're also fighting the main battle, that's the way to do it.
And Jordan's trying to send like little raids to the top. He's getting siege engineers now. He's got a castle over there in the north, so maybe build up some trebs and take those out when Viper isn't paying attention. He's just really struggling to find an in against Viper. Viper forcing him to fight these big battles. Now Viper going for raids, and Jordan does not have that network of castles like Viper does. He's only got hussars in defense. Viper will back away though, kill the siege workshop, and then just run. What an effective raid there.
I wonder if there's something about how Jordan plays that turns games into this, because this is so reminiscent of that game where Jordan played Hera. But he does have Trebs, Dave, and maybe he thinks that Viper's out of position. He's going to give it a go again.
Ooh. Viper's the first one to start the Treb war in the north. He saw that castle from Jordan. Jordan repairing there, only has Ballista elephants and a few hussars. Viper, though, only with a few light cav.
So we should mention Viper has 90 army. Britain army is weaker, but it is easier to mass. Ballistas, Hussars, Trebs, this is all expensive army, and only 68 army on the field for Jordan.
Viper getting hoardings now. He
Such
got
a good
capped
tech.
ram. You're right, this is an AI match.
Yeah.
Herbal medicine, hoarding, capped ram, werewolf, vehement, everything.
Dave, I'm trying to think about the Ballistas. Are there any upgrades he has missed? I'm not sure if Thumb Ring helps them. I think it doesn't because it's Siege. And Viper just desperately trying to snipe the Trebs again. Can he keep his castle up? Oh, it's so close!
He gets him. He gets him.
No way, dude. If he didn't have hoardings, that castle would have gone down. But he
Yep.
got it at the perfect time. I'd be so frustrated if I was Jordan.
And that's what, Treb 7, 8, and 9 over
Yep.
here from Jordan. Going down. He does have quite a bit of gold in the bank, and obviously he has the relic advantage. But god damn, Viper has kept this castle alive somehow.
Speaking of, on the other side, Dave, Viper showed up with Trebs too early, and Jordan has sniped one of them. So I think Jordan's going to keep his castle alive as he gets hoardings. Like, that's a great idea, Viper. I'll try that myself.
Honestly, I think Khmer win in the long game here. Just because he has the relics. He still has gold left over. I don't know if Viper's taking gold anywhere.
I'm just worried about the wood situation for Jordan, but beyond that, I agree with you. But
Jordan,
it's
if
tricky.
Jordan thinks he's going to lose on wood, he should raid with these Ballista elephants and just start shooting the wood from Viper.
Well, I don't know if he could make it past, but I would love to see that for the memes.
Well, look at the pierce armor on these bad boys. They can make it past anything, dude.
Yeah, now, Jordan hasn't seen the 4th relic. I think it should be seen as a mistake. But I guess he doesn't know he has a wood line there, so he hasn't chopped wood there. You've got to think he's going to get relic number 4 soon.
I think Jordan wins this game.
I mean, it's so weird to say that when it's 200 pop versus 200 pop. But it all comes down to how many castles end up going down. And I really hate the castle from Jordan on the left. When he built that, he had no support. I really wish he would have built it further back on that hill. And here goes Jordan, though, in to snipe the Trebs. Viper sees this. So he preemptively pulls repair villagers. The Viper
Also,
is going
if
to
Jordan
save them.
keeps going after the castles from Viper, he'll need to keep buying stone. He has no access to stone.
True.
And he has limited gold. Very, very limited gold. Jordan is going to kill both of these trebuchets with
Ooh.
Viper. He does. List elephants behind. He'll retreat with those a little bit. And Viper does not have any trebs on the field. He's queuing up 2 more. But that's it. Now he's getting the 3rd wood upgrade. And he's probably thinking to himself,
This
what am I
game,
going to do for gold count?
yeah, you're right, Dave. Like, this game should have been the other way around than Imp for Viper. He should be the one pushing with the snowball, and we haven't really seen those attempts, so even though he's defending, and when you lack Siege Ram, when you don't have the relic count that Jordan has, when you don't have Hussar. Feels like you're only going to be defending if you don't get some type of a push forward.
Like, what? Jesus Christ.
It's all right. He'll have more Hussars in a second,
Look
Dave.
look at the top. I'm not caring about that. Look at Jordan's point of view and look at the right corner.
He sees it now. He just got town
patrol.
patrol. Yeah, so he can see it now. But yeah, he was so close to seeing that. And Dave, another Treb is going to bite the dust, I believe, as Viper goes in after a Treb. How many Trebs have been lost in this game? 20? 30 maybe?
Honestly, though, with the amount of gold that Jordan has, I think it's worth it just to force repairs out of Viper. Because he needs to buy stone. Look at his gold count now. 460.
I think you can make a strong argument for Siege Ram again, because there's not many light cav out there for Viper. He has switched into Halb and into Hussar. Interesting engagement as Viper, he moves out further than we've seen him move out in a while. But Dave, he needs to repair his castle in the south. We'll have to buy stone, you're right.
Yep, and nothing can be done about that Treb as of yet. Can't even engage with the villagers. He did take out a lot of Ballista elephants in the middle, so now he can push in with the Arbalists.
Jordan maybe getting worried now and mixing in some skirms. I really like that addition. And then Viper will have to add in more light cap, but I think the skirm addition with the Ballistas and Hussars is perfect. And there's Trebs on either side, but Viper's going to defend with his Warwolf Trebs. And he's going to kill another Trebuchet from Jordan. So good from Viper there. Oh my goodness.
That was like all of his remaining gold he put into those Trebs.
Can he
the light
use
cap
that?
goes down, trying to kill the Treb on the right. Viper with some capped rams. Only 2, though. Can't really afford to spend gold on that sort of thing. And he needs to buy some more stone to keep repairing the castle.
Viper needs to bring those 3 Trebs forward and take out that castle. Yeah, there he is. And then he needs to try and take out the other one in the north, and he needs to get raids in on Jordan. But I'm with you, Dave, that even though he's at a great population, I don't think his long-term position is as good as Jordan's.
Oh, look at these Arbalists. Kind of in threat here. He's going to have to back up and sacrifice his Halberdiers. Jordan now mixing in Scorpions. I actually wouldn't really mind seeing heavy Scorpion researched here from the Khmer.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Dave. Maybe. I think the Ballista Elephants, just the tankiness alone is enough to justify them. But they maybe don't do as much damage as heavy Scorpions would do. Castle will go down, finally. And that could lead to Viper maybe taking out some of the buildings over there. But I think Jordan's got enough in queue where he can just go in and take out Trebs. And if he can take these Trebs out, Viper doesn't have a lot of gold. It'd be so tough for Viper to push.
Another Treb bites the dust.
Hi, villagers.
And another one. Did Jordan get sappers or something? He's going all in against that castle with Vills. No, he doesn't have it.
I think he just wants to free up some pop space, so he just sent him in there, and maybe that, or it was a mistake. Still a big fight going on in the middle, and Jordan's making Scorpions before Heavy Scorpion, which is a big waste of resources. What's going on here, Jordan?
Yeah,
he doesn't actually have the resources for Heavy Scorpion, so that's a big mistake.
He's only got 34 on wood, and he doesn't have that much in the bank. Viper might win it here with a convincing push. If he gets a good position, Jordan is really struggling to produce. Only 4 skirmishers, 4 Hussar in the queue. And Viper has 25 Halbs and 26 light cav, plus 43 Arbalists on the field.
It's 90 military versus 50 military, and it all comes down to if Jordan can hold here, because Viper is at the limit, dude. He's at the limit. He doesn't have that many farmers. He doesn't have anything on gold. He's got 1 relic. Jordan now has 4. Just notice, though, Viper got in.
Viper's building up rams for a push on the right. He's going for that castle. Slowly.
What in the world? Jordan. Dude, Jordan is hemorrhaging now. He's lost 20, 30 villagers over the last couple minutes. He's still getting raided on both sides, Dave. You've got Halbs on the left, you've got Halbs on the right, and then he's going to lose the castle on the right. I think you're right. I think Viper might get away with this.
Yep. And this is his chance. I mean, if this game goes any longer, Viper is just going to run out of gold, right? There's no potential to push it. Viper takes it somehow. I could have sworn it was dead even there. And I think the thing that screwed Jordan, Tristan, is that castle on the left. If he put it a little bit further back, he doesn't lose that position. Viper really can't push over there and can't distract Jordan as much. he doesn't allocate as many resources to repairing that, and maybe can focus on the middle a little bit more.
I agree. Yeah, I think the left castle was a mistake, Dave. But also, what does Jordan have in the field right now? He's got Hussar, 8 ballistas, and 18 skirms. I think things were going so well when he was spending his gold on ballista elephants with Hussars. And then when he switched that, it started to become a problem for him. So
Just
it
the
is a
production
problem with
wasn't there.
Khmer, knowing how to spend your gold. But I think when you have the farm count that he had, he's at 45 now, you've definitely got to make sure that you get some of those ballistas out. And then the other thing, Dave, is Viper played so defensive. And yet Jordan still has stone for more castles of his own. He could have made castles on his farming eco. Why didn't he do that? There should never be halbs on the woodline on the left. There should never be halbs in his farming eco when he has that much stone. But just Viper things, right? Like Viper was at the limit there. Viper just camped with the Britons and made it so difficult for Jordan and then somehow figured it out. Viper is incredible with offense and execution in Feudal and Castle like we saw game 1, but he can do it all in Imp as well.
He's the best in the world if you give him time.
Yeah.
He's definitely the best. And all 5 of these castles, Tristan, were probably up 2-3 minutes into Imperial Age.
Yeah.
Like, he already planned it out. It's going to be a long game. He's never going to have the ability to raid me. And as long as I finish it within probably an hour and 30 minutes game time, then I should be good. If it goes longer than that, then we're really going to struggle Britons versus Khmer.
I guess that's kind of why I want to question Jordan's castle spots even more, because Viper showed him what type of game it was going to be really early on, and Jordan didn't really adapt to that well. He didn't have his own defensive castles. He was getting raided more than Viper was, and then that other castle on the left was weird. But we're talking about strictly castle spots. Viper defended so well with his own castles, took out Jordan's Trebs time and time again, and 751 kills for Viper, 547 units lost. Jordan's got to be a little bit frustrated now because game 1 wasn't close, but game 2, Jordan definitely could have taken.
Yep. Also, to resign when you had that much gold available to you,
it hurts.
It does. It's yeah, it's a blow.
Okay, let me ask you this. If the roles reversed early Imp, okay? So Viper is Khmer on Jordan's side with the relics, and then Jordan's on Viper's side. Who wins the game? Which Civ wins the game?
I think Khmer wins there.
Yeah.
If Viper is just a little bit more conservative with his castles.
Yeah, I agree. I think Viper would also not make as many mistakes, might mix in Siege Ram. A lot of people forget that Viper is also an exceptional deathmatch player. And deathmatch is a lot of that post-imp fighting, controlling for hills. The early stages of deathmatch, you don't have to really macro as much, but Viper just more well-rounded there. GG, though.
Yep. All right. So game 3 coming up, and Jordan is down 2-0, and we were expecting a 4-2 series, both of us, in favor of the Viper. Viper, this looks like close to peak Viper, honestly, from the first 2 games we've watched. We'll have to get a bigger sample size, but damn.
Well, that's what I thought when I saw him play in all of his previous sets as well. Like Viper beating Veleza 4-1, pretty much what you would have expected, I think. The only weak point for Viper was, I think, the first set in this tourney, and ever since then, he's looked so smooth and so clean. And Viper's weak point of stamina, I don't even think is a talking point right now. Like, when Viper was struggling in some of the bigger sets, some people were like, oh, well, he's struggling with that wrist issue, or it's really late. The excuses start to come out. No one's even thinking about those things right now because Viper's just being Viper. That's just one of those games where, as a player of this game, I feel so sad for Jordan because he did play it so well. You could say that he would have beaten anyone else in the tourney playing it like that too. And then he loses it. Now he's down 2 games, and then he knows who he's up against. So,
well, to be fair, I don't think many other players in the tourney get it to that position where you have 5 castles loaded up. Maybe Hera, it would be a similar match. Maybe. But like for Leary would have pushed him early with Britain somehow, right? Or like, Vinchester would have tried something different, or anyone else you could name would be in have a different setup than Viper there.
Yeah.
It's a very Viper base.
And it's just a frustrating base. That game was a perfect example of Britons are hard to push and hard to push with. Viper didn't really have a game-ending push. Jordan resigned before the castle on the right got rammed down, but Viper just made it impossible.
Civs. Only game 3, so we can't really predict Civs that much here. I would suspect Jordan goes for something like Indians. That seems like the default pick for people when they're down a few games. And then Viper going for... I think Viper is going to go for Byzantines.
I mean, Byzantines, what's nice about them is they're not necessarily your best pick, but very rarely do Byzantines come into a position where you don't have an answer to the enemy.
Yep.
So I really like Byzantines here for that reason. As for Jordan, I mean, I don't know. I honestly wouldn't like any of his sims against Byzantines, so I hope that he doesn't see that. But maybe Jordan will go for one of his early picks here, Dave. Go for Tatars or Vikings. Try and apply a bit more aggression in Feudal. But it doesn't seem like he really has confidence to try and best Viper in Feudal. I think it's always going to turn into similar Feudal Age openings and then a boomy game in Castle Age.
Still haven't started.
No, they haven't. But to be fair, I wouldn't start right away either if I just played that game. If we're casting this, if this is live, and it is live, I would expect a couple minutes in between after an hour-long game.
Trent says, does a Cataphract beat a Berserker fully upgraded? Yes.
Very much so, yeah.
Fucking mows them down.
Yeah. Yeah, Byzantines, the weakness of them is that their eco isn't that strong, but their units are exceptional, and I think this type of a map is more about unit control than it is eco. Granted, this series hasn't necessarily been that way. It's been more boomy, but...
I think the Birds blessed that game.
Seriously.
They pointed that was the winning push for Viper. I think the map hacks, they were saying, go this way later on.
Is it rude of me to say that the Birds were the most memorable moment of that game?
I think
I mean, the game was good.
Trebuchets going down when Viper pushed back and the castle living with like 300 HP maybe.
Yeah. But like if I wake up tomorrow and someone were to ask me,
I'm going to remember the Birds, yeah.
Yeah, if someone's going to ask me like, "Hey, what happened in that game?" I'd be like, "Did you see the Birds?" I remember the Birds. So, Bulgarians versus Indians will be our matchup.
Okay, so I got one civ, right?
Not bad.
There you go.
Dude, so in the first semi, Nilly and I both predicted the Vietnamese Sicilians. And we had like this long, drawn-out reasoning for why it was going to be Vietnamese Sicilians. And we predicted it, and very few people seemed impressed, which still makes me sad.
Can you tell me exactly what Nilly said?
Exactly what Nilly said?
Yeah.
Basically, Nilly's approach was that we were going to see a middle-of-the-pack civilization for Winchester because Winchester was ahead in that series, and that Vietnamese had less weaknesses as a mid-table civilization, something along those lines. But Nilly did not say it like that because I can't do a good Nilly impression.
Oh, okay.
25 seconds. I really hate Bulgarians on King of the Desert Arabia. Just want to put that out there. I think Viper would not pick Bulgarians if he was... Maybe this is rude of me to say, but I truthfully don't think Viper would pick Bulgarians if this was 1-1. I don't see any strong matchups out there for Bulgarians because Jordan has a lot of civilizations that can counter Knights, which is the mid-game comp. You've got Tatars who can make camels, Mongols who can make camels, Indians who can make camels, Berbers who can make camels. So I think this is going to be more about, will Viper be able to counter Camel Archer? And it's probably going to be a fun one, Dave. I expect a lot of shenanigans with maybe some towers or some forward buildings here from the Viper.
Knowing Viper, though, I'd probably just boom up behind. Maybe we see... Remember when Slam went Bulgarian Cav Archers in Red Bull 4, I think?
Oh, that was a thing for a while. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, Bulgarian Cav Archers was a thing for the first couple months. I remember that.
Well, not even the first couple months, dude. It was only a few months ago that we saw plays like that
Mhm.
because they get decent amount of upgrades, right?
Slam also went for Khmer Cav Archers. So I don't know if Slam's the best example, but yeah. That would be the one weakness of Bulgarians. Their blacksmith upgrades are discounted, so you can get a lot of upgrades. Their man-at-arm upgrade is free. Wait. How would Longsword do here? I do recall Viper going for a lot of man-at-arms and skirms and going longswords once recently. Is that too much?
I mean, I think it depends on the position. If you're camping in your base and you're going long swords against Indians, I think you're maybe missing the
yeah.
you're missing a few brain cells. But if you have a forward position and you have siege and you're pressuring, maybe could be an option.
Yeah, my thought is longswords make more sense in this matchup simply because Indians do not get knights. So if knights make less sense, and then you also can't go for crossbow, maybe there's a world, but it does depend on the situation. Yet again, these two get a generation where walling is a strong possibility, Dave. There's been so many more woodlines in these games than the first semifinal.
The fuck? My chat is slandering me.
I'm sorry, are you new here?
No, well, the guy's like, what is the rating of the casters? Right? As
Oh.
if he doesn't know who we are. And then Trance is like, Dave is 1400. That's on my fucking controller, brother.
To be fair, you don't have an actual rank in your 1v1, but yeah, 1400 is slandering you.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to know, Dave, that I think you're an exceptional player in caster, and that you don't deserve the treatment.
Is that because I have a winning record against you all time?
Do you actually? That's depressing.
I might. I actually might. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. It balanced out over the last couple of years, but I actually might.
Well, now that you bring that up, I'm gonna slander you. You suck. All right. Anyways, moving on.
Right.
We've got 4 on wood for Viper, and we'll see if he goes for early barracks here. This is the time where you'll see players either go for the mill or the barracks. Jordan's going for the mill, which indicates he'll go towards feudal age. I talked about it a lot with Nilly earlier. I think Indians are just beastly because of their eco, Dave. They lack a very important unit in the night, and it doesn't really seem to matter with this Civ because their villagers are so freaking cheap, man. They can do anything. So, coming back in games, getting ahead in games, all that is easier when you save the food on Vills.
Yep.
And there's the barracks for Viper, and Viper doesn't have an eco bonus with this Civ, except for TCs being a little bit cheaper.
The way Slam put it with Indians is that you're basically going up for 400 food, or going up to feudal for 400 food because you're saving 100 food if you have 20 villagers.
True.
On your vills in Dark Age. Now, I think that's a bit of a miscalculation or misinterpretation on his part because you still have to make, you still pay for the feudal upgrade and you still have to make the villagers for the same amount of time.
Yeah.
But you're saving about 100 on the way up to the next stage.
And then it scales. And I think in Castle Age is where it really feels strong because you can boom out of 3 TCs and make military when the opponent cannot do that. Like there's stages in games where 3 TC boom is just super greedy. Indians can get away with it. So we will see. What we have not seen is a scout build at all this game. So this series, excuse me. So I'm kind of excited to see the potential for scouts. Here comes Viper though with 2 militia, Dave, staying in Dark Age.
All right.
Oh my god, that woodline on the left of Jordan's base is perfect for scouts. Please make a lumber camp in there. Dude, he can make a lumber camp and a few palisades and protect 5 villagers perfectly. That's incredible.
You're getting way too excited about
No,
this.
Jordan, don't ruin it. There's a perfect spot. Don't try and... Dude, no. Oh, that's okay. That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Anyway, Viper is going to show up here. Jordan has already pre-walled, though. He
Frickin'
had
archers
an
again.
idea that this was coming. Jordan only traps in 2 villagers, which is unfortunate. Could have gotten a lot in there, but, can make some walls and have that safe. He's also safe on the berries, safe on his other woodlines. So the 2 militia drush has forced out some walls in reaction from Jordan, but won't be able to find too much other damage.
I really wanted to see a scout build, Dave, but I think this is a perfect adjustment from Jordan. The uptime tells you scouts, but he saw the militia. He knows that these will eventually be men-at-arms because that upgrade comes in for free with Bulgarians.
It's going archery range.
Yeah. I think this is a good play. The only thing is, he's super late to his barracks. So he's going to arrive to Feudal Age, and he won't be able to make his range right away. So that's bad for Jordan. Oh, wait a second. Viper's coming forward right now. Yo, Viper's going to follow this up with more militia and go for a tower rush.
Yep.
Holy cow. This is the first time I've seen Viper go for a tower rush in a tournament in, honestly, 2 years, I think. In a long time.
You are Bulgarians against Indians, so you need to do something, basically.
Yep.
And even just causing a little bit of damage early or cutting off that gold, I mean, you could always send the villagers back afterwards if you made it messy for Jordan. You don't have to fully commit to this tower rush by any means. There's 5 militia now on the field from Viper. Men-at-Arms upgrade will be coming soon. He's almost in the Feudal Age.
Right.
And the archer range from Jordan is just now going down.
It's so late,
This could be trouble for him. This could be big trouble for him. He spent so much wood on the walls, Tristan. I don't think he had enough for the archery range.
Hey, also, he went up so fast, and it takes so much time to do this type of a build. And so Jordan reacts nicely. He has the houses down. Otherwise, the man-at-arms would kill him. But remember, recently, housing armor was changed. So I think man-at-arms, even with some upgrades, could probably melt through these houses. Good job from Jordan. He needs to repair that house. He's going to complete his tower. He is making archers. And Viper is just going to move around.
Dragon Star in my chat saying, he's taking my build!
That's so true. Dude, I honestly didn't want to say this is Dragon Star's build because people are always like, oh, T90 is always with these obscure references. I didn't want to people to think it wasn't relevant. So props to Dragon Star.
Yep.
And tower will go down, but you can't make another one now if you're Jordan.
Yep, and Viper is on stone with 3. And Viper has 5 men-at-arms here. The towers will push back the archers. The men-at-arms will keep the villagers and spearmen at bay. I think you wall in this one if you're Viper. Oh, love it, love it, love it.
Yep.
So often players don't wall in their towers. The first one, he didn't wall in because it's within range of the counter tower from Jordan. But this one is cutting off that gold. It's sitting right at the front of Jordan's base, and it can cut off any farm space too. So I think it's well worth it to wall this one.
If Jordan counterattacks with 2 archers, he wins the game. Viper has no archery range. He can't afford an archery range. His man-at-arms are walled out. Jordan just needs a counterattack, and he wins the game. And that's why, unfortunately, tower rushes have fallen a little bit out of meta because you don't have that mid-game control. But Jordan might expect skirms, Dave. He's actually adding a stable right now, which seems super weird. Viper with the range, so Jordan thinking ahead. I'd love to see Jordan forget about the men-at-arms. They can't do damage right now. They're literally in the tower. Head to Viper's base.
Yep. Viper should be placing some counter tower. This brings me back to the times when we used to see tower rushes all the time.
I agree.
We would always bring this up about this time. You need towers for protection at home, and there it is. Right on the gold for Viper. The archers will, if they show up, they will bounce off that tower. Jordan's going to scout that so he knows it's not vulnerable. And Jordan has actually brought the archers back to try and kill the villagers from Viper. But now Viper has skirmishers involved. So the archers will have to go back for the time being. Stable in the rear of his base for Jordan. Garrisoning the scouts and biding his time.
I understand the thought process from Jordan to want to kill these vills. What I don't understand is not sending 2 or 3 villagers to stone. Back when towers were common, that would be the way to do it. Then you can just zone out the tower rusher. But Viper has been forward. Viper's economy is worse. His villagers are not as cheap. And honestly, his army composition of skirmishers and man-at-arms, I've never seen it work in King of the Desert. And I don't think it normally would work against someone of Jordan's level. But Viper's giving it a shot. He's now adding the blacksmith, but Jordan's here already with blacksmith upgrades. And Jordan with the micro, Dave. Yikes. And Viper is dead, dude. This is so bad.
Why don't players go forward is the question that we ask all the time. And this is why.
Sorry, Dragon
Viper
Star.
tries a masterpiece to try and trap in the archers, but the scouts are there from Jordan. Viper calls the GG, and I guess if you're Viper, I mean, you're up 2-0, and it's worth a shot, I suppose.
But
I don't know.
Listen, this is like Viper of old, where he'd be ahead in the series, so he'd try something new. or he tries something that doesn't have a high chance of working. That honestly bothers me. Like, I wanted to see Viper continue to be super cutthroat. Jordan should be very thankful this happened. Unfortunately for Viper, he just didn't have military presence.
I think like this could have been a lot more effective if he had added another tower closer to his original one there. Like if he had slowed down the push and not tried to go so YOLO on the wood line, or maybe if he had put some houses down earlier. I don't know. The strategy itself is a bit meh, but I think the execution on it could have been a little bit better for Viper. He got so exposed over by that wood line.
Yeah, my issue is that I said it before the game. I didn't think there was like a single good matchup for Bulgarians. And he picked Bulgarians, and maybe he realized that and went all in. Now, the real issue on why you can't do a lot more with that is because towers are expensive. Also, it's villager time when you're walking forward. And if there was one gold, it would make sense. But Jordan simply just relocated to another gold, and then he made his army. But I think we can forget about that one pretty quickly. If Jordan ends up winning the next game, he's going to be so happy that Viper tried this strategy here. We have a long series ahead of us still. Hopefully, Jordan still got some good civs. And Viper's little attempt at playing with Bulgarians failed pretty bad there.
I was excited too. I miss towers, man.
I do too.
Really did.
We could have a whole conversation on it. And I really feel like towers, in a world where we're constantly talking about which civ is better and which civ is worse, towers actually were the great equalizer to take positions in games and give civs at a disadvantage more of a chance, but probably not the time to discuss it. Oh, man. Especially the Vivi days. Whew. Vivi might actually be the reason the towers were nerfed, to be honest. So
probably. Yeah, probably. I mean, he... In that one phase where Koreans were extremely buffed and they built their towers faster, you remember that 33% faster for Koreans?
That was broken, yeah.
I think that's when we overcorrected a little bit. And then after that, Vivi used his tower magic to get into... There was a lot of people arguing for Vivi being like a top 3 Arabia player.
Yeah.
At one point.
Game 4 has started, Dave. But yeah, Mr. Yo once said, if you want to fix walls, simply change towers back. And we've had 5 different wall nerfs on DE, and still you have people complaining about them. I think what bothers me is anytime there's someone who develops a really good strat that's slightly off meta, it gets nerfed to the ground. Like Celts, they had faster moving infantry in Dark Age until one player annoyed the entire community with his strat that he developed. And then like Vivi with his towers were so strong for years as well, and then it eventually got nerfed. So I would like to see a few more Feudal Age mix-ups as well. But not today, Dave. Not today. Also, Inca strategy.
The devs watch Huang's stream. No, the devs watched all the other streams of every other player matching up against Huang 24/7.
And they listened to all their complaints, and they finally were like, let's make a change. Which is fine. Like, I'm not saying I don't want balance changes. I'm not saying I don't want people to be listened to. But I don't want every game to be the same 3 strats in the mid game. I'd like a few more things to be possible.
Yep.
That's all. Okay, next game coming up. And we've got Byzantines versus Burgundians. Didn't we see this matchup together recently, or am I crazy?
Byzantines versus Burgundians. We saw Burgundians for Ballista against Slam. That was...
Indians, yeah.
Against Indians. I don't know if we saw Byzantines against them. I think we saw Byzantines against Sicilians.
It was actually Citeaux versus ACCM Game 5. That's where my brain is right now. That did happen at some point. All right, Viper in his yellows. Not his yellows, playing Byzantines. And then we have Burgundians for Jordan. And this is a pretty fun one because you have Burgundians who have insane eco. They can research their eco upgrades 1 age earlier, and it's discounted. Against Byzantines who don't really have any eco upgrades, but they have a lot of options that are cheap. So it should be fun.
All right. So neither player going forward to lame right away. Both just collecting the resources. Looking at the maps here, Jordan's gold is really exposed out there. The front of his map is super open. His secondary golds are a little bit off to the side, and his berries are pretty far forward. But Viper is in a similar situation. with an exposed gold as well. His barriers, however, are at the back, and I think it's a little bit easier for Viper to wall off his base here.
Yep.
Not too bad.
Yeah, Jordan has the better wood lines, though, in terms of back wood lines. So if this goes into archer play, which I don't think it will from Jordan, but yeah, if it goes into archer or tower play, certainly having the back wood lines will be better for Jordan. Plus, he already has the Feudal Age wood upgrade, so a little bit of payoff for having his Civ here. What's tricky with Byzantines is that because you don't have that eco bonus, a play of Man-at-Arms into archers just feels so much weaker than any eco civ. There's probably 10, maybe 15 civilizations that can justify Man-at-Arms because of some little bonuses. So I think this is one of the rare moments in this series where we might just see Feudal Age opening and a lot of Feudal Age military spammed. If Jordan is defensive, we could see Viper go for Spearman and Skirmisher even. If Jordan's not being aggressive.
Honestly, knowing these two players, I think Viper will just go for like one range. Skirmisher, Spearman. Jordan's going to wall up.
I could see it.
His eco bonuses, and then Viper will, I guess, try and catch up in Castle Age somehow. Or maybe even, like, when I'm thinking the weaknesses of Burgundians is that they're going to be spending so much time and resources getting those eco upgrades and trying to get their economy safe. Maybe they can be punished by some sort of quick action. Like, maybe a faster Imperial Age from Viper could do some work against them.
Ironically, and we just talked about how towers are bad, but I think with how greedy Burgundians play and that immediate need to do damage against them in Feudal Age, I feel like maybe some type of pressure with towers and archers could work well. But
well, like in the old days, if you saw a wall like this from Jordan, a tower forward would completely kill them.
Yep.
You'd get in, you'd deny all of the wall off here, and then you pressure in, and their economy would be in no state to defend.
And Dave, there have been 5 different wall nerfs. They have made walls more expensive, and they've made walls longer to build, and yet everyone still complains about walls. You think about it, you tweak towers, maybe then you can break through these walls, and it's not the walls that are the problem. Yeah, but now we have to talk about it because it's a really important thing to bring up.
Okay, well, the wolf is going to go for the villager, and the scout is here.
Oh, God.
He did get loom, though. Jordan did get loom.
But Viper could just attack and block. Yeah, he's fine.
It was almost a double whammy there. Jordan got out just in time. That villager was on the edge of death, for sure.
But you know what's interesting? So palisade walls are now 3 wood a palisade. There's 18 that have been placed. 18 times 3, someone will do the math. I guess that is just about the additional wood that Jordan brought in with his wood upgrade. But when you have to wall a full map like this, it's not as if you're floating that many resources. It's still expensive to wall, and also it's the villager time when you're out there.
God, like every time I call a lion a wolf, everyone else calls rhinos boars. And they don't get in trouble for it. But if I call a lion a wolf, oh, unforgivable. Absolutely unforgivable.
The second you say something's unforgivable, it's forever unforgivable, dude.
Yep.
It's you have screwed yourself.
All right, so the scout from Jordan is sitting on the barracks from Viper. And Viper actually canceled. He canceled the 2 militia he had queued up. I think because Jordan's scout was there.
Let's see what Jordan can afford here. Oh, he's going for the back golds, which is super. Actually, that's not bad because his other gold's really far forward. But it was a little late.
Why not just wall to the edge of the map if you're Jordan? He's walling there, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't see it. Yeah, he doesn't see it. He doesn't know.
I just think Jordan's having the same problem as he did the previous game, Dave. He won't have a military building. But this time it's a little... sorry, I can't speak all of a sudden. This time it makes more sense because he's getting those eco upgrades as he goes for his farm upgrade first. Chooses not to get the wood upgrade right away. Interesting. Does he have a stone back here?
A heavy plow.
He doesn't have a stone back here, so... How is he planning on defending with this? If he's just going to add farms and add eco, he will need some military. Sometimes you'll have a stone, and then you can just go tower defense and go into KotD4 in the Castle Age, but that won't be an option for Jordan.
I like KotD4 better. It sounds smoother, you know? KotD4 sounds like some kind of like southern...
The thing is, when I say it, it sounds awful. But when you hear someone say KotD4... that actually can speak the language. I
Actually,
think it sounds better.
I'm pretty sure if you have the proper pronunciation in French, it just comes out as "q."
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. My favorite, and this is, I don't mean to be conceited, but one of my favorite French words to say is actually my name. It makes my name so much more interesting. Tristan. That's so much better than Tristan. Tristan.
Tristan.
Yeah,
You don't
isn't
have
that
to, like,
amazing?
dude, you don't have to emphasize the last syllable. That's kind of disrespectful and insensitive, you know? I can't believe you would disrespect the French like that. I am stunned.
I'm just saying, I just sound like if you were trying to introduce me to someone, right? And you're like, oh, this guy Tristan, he's really cool. Or if you said, oh, this guy Tristan, he's really cool. Would that not be like, would I not sound more interesting just based on the introduction of my name? No?
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Anyways, another exciting game between these two very aggressive players as Jordan is completely walled up researching eco upgrades. But this is kind of what we expected. This is the Burgundians. And Viper's here to apply some pressure. And yes, Viper kills the scout. Jordan doesn't have any skirmishers or anything to stop this just yet. I think he's going to need a military building. I am correct on that, by the way. I have some people from France in my chat. Am I correct on that?
Tristan?
Oh, okay. Hold on. Daisy Chain says, actual point from Dave. No idea why most Americans stress the final syllable of French words and think that's the French accent. Damn it. Okay, so you mean I don't sound any better in French?
Yeah, they're used to, like... The thing is, Americans are used to, like, the stereotypical cliche depictions of French people, right? They never hear it on a regular basis. So they always go with the cartoon version.
Well, my dad lived in France for 3 years, and he knows French, but he still was an American living in France, and so anything French I heard from him was probably the Americanized version.
When he gets really mad at you, does he call you Tristan?
Tristan! That's probably what it was, actually. I was a bad kid, man. I spent a lot of my time playing Age of Empires and not doing chores, so.
Allez, Tristan!
I like the pressure from Viper here. Yeah, that's a lot of wall for Jordan to defend, but I don't think Viper will actually break through. He's forcing reactions, and he's forcing Jordan to stay further in Feudal Age with more skirms, but this is definitely going to Castle Age. So, Dave, you were born in Canada and then lived in America, or what's the story again?
No, I was born in Canada. I lived in Canada. Never lived in the
Oh,
States.
yeah. One of your parents is American. That's
My dad is American, yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
So I have the passport, although it's expired right now. I have to... God, the last time I went in to renew that, dude, I got pulled into a room. They interviewed me for like 40 minutes. I guess they thought like 20-year-old me was suspicious or something. Oh my God, counterattack from Jordan.
You actually had me there. He is in. Yep, anyways, go ahead.
So yeah, now I have to go back to the consulate probably again, and it's already expired, which means I'll probably have to pay money. And I can't even renounce my citizenship because that, of course, it costs money for me to say I'm no longer an American citizen.
What?
Yeah, it cost me like $2,000 if I want to renounce my citizenship. Imagine, you're the only country in the world where it's like, I don't want to be part of it anymore. All right, pay us.
How about this? I pay you to no longer be an American citizen. That way I can make more Canadian jokes. Does that work? Okay.
I decline.
Viper's on the way up. Viper's on the way up, and he did use a little bit of market abuse. Sold 100 stone. I like that. Not all of his stone, just 100 of it. We'd get a bit more gold to buy food. That said, Jordan has been working off of Castle Age eco upgrades most of the game.
Viper's going forward. He's going to go for some early pressure here.
With what, though? I guess Siege would make sense, because right now Jordan only has skirms, but...
Siege, add some pikemen, too. If you know that the Cavalier are coming out, you can make skirms of your own to deal with his skirms. Like, if Viper gets a good position, knowing the greed that Jordan's shown already, it could be really, really good in Castle Age.
Yeah. I honestly feel like camels would make a lot of sense from Byzantines, because it's so cheap. And all that Jordan has is skirm. And the only other thing you'd expect from Jordan would be knights. But it's so weird. Jordan sold all of his stones, so it's not like he's going to boom back here. And he doesn't even have a stable yet. It feels like Jordan is honestly just going to make skirmishers here.
Yep. He sees the villager. He's going to know about the potential siege workshop from Viper.
Mm-hmm.
So he can adapt earlier. It's actually decent micro from Jordan to keep pushing this army back. Viper's like, no. You will stop following. I do not like this. And goes for a house. And now goes for a siege workshop right within view of Jordan's army. But he's not going to be able to stop that with only skirms.
So you have no stone to boom. You don't have a stable to push this back. Like, what's the plan here, Jordan? You don't even have a second range. This is a very weird game from Jordan. I get the greed to go for Castle Age upgrades, but when you're in Castle Age, that's when you need to use your resources. I guess I'll just go siege at this point, Dave.
You're not alone. We're definitely both wondering what's Tristan's mind at the moment. Oh, it's a siege workshop, okay. Elite skirmishers, Bodkin arrow coming in.
I don't mind that, but it does feel a little awkward when you've got a siege workshop on your face, right? Like, Viper's even adding the monastery because he's expecting there to be knights. And I think he'll be surprised to know that there's not going to be any knights as Viper adds the TC at home. I really like how Viper's played this game.
Do you get redemption if you're Viper?
No. I think just forcing Jordan back at this stage and not seeing any knights tells you that you're honestly ahead in this game at this point. He's also rushing his Castle Age eco upgrades, both the farm and the wood upgrades, so they're now...
Ooh, Jordan can get a good shot here. Oh my god, if he pops out at the right moment. Ah! No.
Are you kidding me, Viper?
I hyped that up. I don't know how Viper got that good trade there. I don't know how he saved that Mangonel.
That was disgusting. Dave, he sensed it because he doubled back with his Mangonel before it even popped out. It's like he knows the timing. That was disgusting.
Yep. All right, another Mangonel is on the way from Viper. Monk is here too. Elite Skirmisher is in from Jordan, so he should be able to push this back for the time being until there's another Mangonel anyway. And he just got Wheelbarrow, and he's still playing fairly greedy. Viper, however, is on 2 TCs, so he's going to catch up in the eco department.
My guy has skirms. Like, what's the play? He doesn't have a second TC. He doesn't have anything to do offensively. He has skirms. I'm very confused by Jordan's play right now.
And they're in the TC.
They are. I guess they're healing. Well, he will need to push Viper back. Honestly, the longer Viper holds this position, the more you do think about redemption. Which was a point from you earlier. Jordan adding a TC, I notice, in the back of his base. That is awful, but it is a TC at least, so it's something. Viper's climbed ahead in eco.
That's a rough TC. It's the only place he can really put it, though.
That awkward moment when you need to make a TC and a lumber camp.
Yep.
Viper's going for farm shots here. So you can... Mangonels have 7 range. But you can hit from 8 range if you can see the edge of a farm. Because anytime you attack a farm, it hits the middle of the farm. So let's see if Viper utilizes a farm shot. Probably not now that I brought it up.
Is that what you're calling it now? Farm shot?
I don't know what else to call it.
You've coined the term? I like it. It sounds good.
I think farm shot makes sense. Jordan's going to break out with his army now. Needs to save this town center here.
Oh, Monkey Lump says crop shot. I like that one. That's smooth.
I like that too.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And here comes the terrifying skirmisher counterattack from Jordan, which honestly is a really good move because Viper doesn't have anything at home. So I like this from Jordan. He can kill everything that Viper has with siege right now until Viper gets redemption, which I think is coming in shortly.
This is going to be really brutal for Viper. There's holes all over the place, and he's definitely not expecting this. I mean, Jordan is being pushed on his main TC, so that's concerning. But now he's got the Mangonel advantage.
Ooh.
And he's going to show up at Viper's economy, and Viper needs to abandon. Oh boy, Viper has nothing back here.
And Viper should have noticed that because he has town patrol. So he had time to be able to react to this. Both players distracted. There was a 1-for-1 on the front. I think redemption's in, Dave. Did we miss that? There's a crop shot. See what I mean?
Crop shot? No, he got sanctity. He didn't get redemption.
Oh yeah, he's still floating the gold. The thing is, though, these skirms don't scale well into the game for Jordan, and he can't take his main gold or any of his stones. So when I think Burgundians, I think boom with a bunch of TCs on stone and gold, not farm boom into skirmishers. Crop shot. Okay, that wasn't a crop shot. Now we're just
love that term,
we're just saying crop shot because it sounds cool. MBL is the king of crop shots.
Crop shots.
Yeah.
Crop shotting.
I'm sure we call him a cockroach and we say he's the king of crop shotting. Poor MBL doesn't get any exciting term. And oh, okay, 1 for 1. This is really intense right now because both players need to defend and attack in awkward ways. And
that was a good crop shot.
He hit that from distance, man. All right, Dave, you're gonna do the crop shot callouts. Okay, come on.
He's not on the crops anymore, though.
Okay.
Ooh, that was almost a really great shot there from Jordan. If Viper wasn't on that hill, that Mangonel dies. Same with that skirmisher. And the skirms from Jordan at the back have now met up with the knights from Viper. And Viper got +2 on his knights.
He was very patient with that. And I honestly think Viper should just bring his next knights forward. Because if he were to run underneath that town center, he could take out all the siege from Jordan. Viper in full control here. We have good Mangonel micro from both. Viper's going to go for an attack round. Jordan senses it. Jordan's got random villagers out here. Jordan does have good eco, but not great eco.
Viper could go up to imp if he had a market here.
Crop shot.
Stone with 3. That was a good crop shot.
It's so easy. Look, you just click the farm. Boom. Right in the middle every time. But yeah, Dave, I think imp is tempting and a real possibility, but what you would benefit from more is full investment into Castle Age to never allow Jordan to get the front of his base.
I mean, that was a good attack round for Viper. I don't know how he didn't clear up that Mangonel. He gets the one on the north. I also don't know how he didn't die there. I guess there's a hill that he was sitting on top of. It's a bit deceiving with the textures. And here come the knights, and they are +2. And there's not really that much for Jordan here to deal with these. They're going to clear up the Mangonels before the knights from Jordan come out. Oh, boy.
Jordan has known that knights have been on the field for 2 minutes, and he didn't even add monks. I guess he's trying to get his own knights up, but it's just full control from Viper. Jordan can't expand, and now you have Viper on the way to the Imperial Age as he still attacks his TC.
Honestly, I would love to see another monastery. Okay, he's going stable. I'd love to see him full arena clown this. Block printing, redemption, you know?
More monks makes a lot of sense here, Dave. You're definitely right on that. Because you now know that there's stables back there for Jordan. You know Jordan will be coming out with some knights. And Jordan will look to get a shot. Should get that one. That's a mistake from Viper. Didn't even have that one repaired. But Viper does not seem too worried. He's going to open with camels. He can get the monk upgrades like you mentioned, Dave. He's got plenty of gold.
Yep. Only has 1 monastery, though, so it's going to be difficult for him to do that. And he only has 3 monks on the field right now. Jordan, important to point out that he's had the eco upgrades for a long time, but Viper evened that out a while ago, and he never got that 3rd wood upgrade either. So, like, in terms of stuff he can get in the Castle Age, doesn't have handcart, doesn't have the 3rd wood upgrade.
He didn't make knights until a second ago, yeah. Oh my god, Jordan just deleted his own Mangonel. And he's laughing now.
That's a not shot right there.
That's a not shot. Oh, jeez. I was just about to say this is the worst game I've seen from Jordan in a long time. And Viper says, had to check if your name was Doubt. How you roast 2 players with 1 comment right there from the Viper. Well played.
Oh, no. Great stuff here. These guys are obviously best friends. IRL and in the game, too. And Viper will be getting to Imperial Age. He gets Bracer. He gets Handcart. I think you cancel Handcart here, right? And go for some military upgrades instead. There's Heavy Camel right there.
You do if you hadn't won this game 10 minutes ago, Dave. I feel like this game's super over. Like, Jordan's game plan of... Oh, look, he found the gold. But Jordan's game plan of just boom and make skirmishers caught up with him really, really quick. And now he feels the need to push out, right? Because he knows Viper's an imp.
Yeah.
Just can't kill that, man. And
Chemistry on the way from Viper too. So we'll have some siege to back this up. Oh my goodness. There's no opportunity here for Jordan to win this fight, especially once Heavy Camel's in.
He has to fight because it will only get worse. But if he does fight, it's game over. Heavy Camel's not in yet, so this is the best time for Jordan, and Jordan just calls it. And like I said, Dave, I mean, I think it's tough with Burgundians on this map because you need to have back resources and you're relying on a good map gen. But even the way Jordan played this way to Castle Age, I thought was fine. he did have 4 tiles of gold, but he didn't even try and go knights. He just sat back, and I would have preferred to see him open skirm and then mix in some knights before Viper had many crossbows and had many monks. He just seemed fixated on the eco. Ends the game with 3 TCs and 87 vills, but Viper with 85 vills had all the control. GG.
Just so greedy.
Too greedy, yeah. Just too greedy. And it's a shame because I feel like if Jordan would have won game number 2, this game is whatever. But now you go down 3-1, and you think back to that game and some of the other ones where maybe he could have taken full advantage, and you just know it's going to be tough for Jordan to find opportunities here.
And this comes off the back. This is very much newer Viper, where you see a performance like he had with the Bulgarians, where he dies right away. And then the very next game, he has a really convincing win.
Yeah.
Old Viper would be 4 convincing wins in a row.
Yeah, maybe. I think, like, didn't old Viper play with weird civs when he knew he was going to win a series, though?
But that was more trolling. That wasn't really trying to win, right?
Okay.
Not really trolling, but like trying something new just to have fun.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, score 3-1 now, and we do have game number 5 starting, apparently. Quickly move on from that one. Jordan's going to be so frustrated with himself. I was surprised that I saw Burgundians pick that early. I do not rate Burgundians that high on open maps. So maybe he was hoping he'd have a back stone. I think that would have been a different game for him if he had the stone there. But that honestly is Jordan trying to go for something that isn't playing the same as Viper. It didn't work out, but trying to pick a civilization where you can full wall and boom is very unlike the other games that Jordan played today. Man, AOE2.net needs to sort themselves out here this weekend. I rely on that stuff, man.
Okay, what was that?
It's fine. I was talking about AOE2.net. I figured it out. Sicilians versus Vikings. Dude, this is a matchup that we used to see all the time in Empire Wars and Red Bull Wololo. And now we've got it here in RM. Exciting stuff.
Ooh, I always get excited when I can ban someone from my channel unironically.
And announce it. It's like, ooh, I banned you.
It
but then I
happens so
also
rarely,
told
dude. It happens
so
like,
many people about it.
Dude, it happens like maybe like 4 people maybe like 5 people a year, I think.
I thought you were going to say a stream. I was like, dude, that is not that is not few people.
You have to do something. You have to be pretty annoying to get banned. This guy was very annoying. Anyway, game number 5.
Wait, didn't you ban me once?
Yeah, but that was because you subbed. We don't do that anymore.
Oh, okay. All right, just curious. Yeah, game 5 here, Dave. Go on.
All right, here we go. Sicilians against Vikings. Viper is playing as the Sicilians, and these two players are really close together.
Ooh, man. I'm actually really excited for this because the way the semifinal's going, it looks like Viper is going to cruise into the finals. Let's just get a crazy, messy, dirty game before we get to those finals, man. I'm hoping that's not the case for Jordan, but I just haven't seen a lot of confidence from Jordan. And the only win that he's had was in that game where Viper played a little off.
Yep.
Jordan finds the elephant, Dave. He could steal that. You're down 3-1. I think you take it.
He's got the hill on it, too. Yeah, he's going to take it. He's going to head back.
Now, where's Viper Scout? Viper Scout is in the back of his base. So there's actually nothing Viper can do to stop that. And also, Jordan could find some sheep on his way out here if he's lucky. Moving along here. Viper will have big problems if he's down the sheep as well. Oh.
Jordan almost found those goats on the way, too.
Yeah.
But he's going to head back to his base. Both his elephants are forward, so Viper wants to counter lane. There's a real possibility that can happen. And the elephant on the left is near the hill, too. So maybe he can take a little bit less damage if he's laming there. Jordan will get this back with no problems, of course.
Well done, Jordan. Now, you have to take some risks here or there. We talked about how there was very little elephant laming in this tourney. Or not necessarily the tourney, but I guess today in the semifinals. Viper's going to be happy to take his goats home. But Viper's now down 400 food, and now here he comes. He knows Jordan's over here because he could see the direction the elephant went. Oh, and he's going the wrong way. Oh, wait. Is this the elephant you were talking about?
Yeah, the one on the left.
Yeah.
But Jordan's here with his scout. And
True.
Viper's going to see that. So limited opportunities to take this elephant. I don't think Viper will go for that. Viper might see this villager from Jordan, though, and be a little bit annoying. Okay, Jordan garrisons his TC. Can't get any shots. And now Viper, is he going to find the other elephant, too? He sees the main gold.
Please find it. Okay, that's funny. Is there an argument to send a villager forward right now?
I mean, you could make the argument. I don't think it would be a good one. I think you just focus. Maybe go back to your base and start pushing some stuff in. Focus on your own eco.
Come on,
Should be the
Viper.
play.
You picked Bulgarians when you were up 2-0. Surely you can try and steal an elephant when you know Jordan's waiting. Come on. Jordan's picking the other elephant right now.
And Viper's going back. Look at it. Okay, so this is perfect for Viper. He's basically laming the elephants without touching the elephants or the villagers. Jordan has to wait for his scout to arrive.
Oh, and now Viper's going to go after it. And now Jordan's scout is kind of out of position, so Viper was patient. And now what Jordan will have to do is try and attack and block that scout so the elephant finishes the job, or
awesome.
block the elephant. That was so cool.
I love how he waited till the villager came out just to force that much extra idle time, right?
Yep.
Now Jordan has to go all the way back to that other elephant. He's been taking goats. It's going to delay his feudal age a little bit. Jordan trying to catch up, not able to get there. And Viper gets within range of his
Wow.
TC. Doesn't even take another hit from that elephant.
Yeah,
he does
near the end
that.
there.
Oh, wow.
But honestly, it ended up working out there. You've got Jordan on 27 HP, Viper on 28 HP. And in the end, 2 elephants per player. We'll have Vikings versus Sicilians. I think a matchup where Vikings thrive. But Sicilians, if they can get control, man, it's very hard to stop them.
Yep.
And you like Sicilians in this matchup, right?
I like Sicilians in most matchups. I think if you play them well, if you play them the right way, they can do a lot of damage. Against Vikings, seem pretty good because the Vikings will likely go into skirmishers or into crossbows, and of course you're taking less bonus damage from the skirmishers. And then late game, even the berserks still do a decent amount to you, but even if you get to that super late game composition, they're going to do half the amount of bonus damage from chieftains.
Yeah. Yeah, I think being close together helps Sicilians too, because Sicilians are going to want to force the fights more. Vikings are going to want to sit back a bit more with how good their eco is. Both civs actually have exceptional economies, and that all starts in Feudal, so it makes sense for them to rush Feudal instead of stay in Dark Age. Jordan with the barracks opening, sending 2 to gold, probably more to wood. And looks to be something similar for Viper, but he hasn't gone to gold yet. So maybe this is an archer opening or even scouts.
All right, Viper is seeing that wood line at the back. Jordan going for the first militia here. He's going to add a few more and then go forward with the men-at-arms. I like the men-at-arms build more for the Vikings than I do the Drush, just because they benefit from that extra HP, and you get to feudal age faster. So you get wheelbarrow clicking earlier, and Jordan's actually going out for the extra hunt too with the villagers. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, everything about this is looking good for Jordan. This is a classic T90 comment, but you know what really bothers me is that lumber camp, because he is going to need a new one really soon. He chops through 3 or 4 trees, and then he's going to be running down and uphill all the time. But having free wheelbarrow is good. Viper has to react. Viper with 2 lumber camps, so more lumber efficiency. He, of course, tracked it the whole way in, but Viper did also take some damage on his scout, so his scout is weaker than Jordan's. And we have archery opening for Viper too.
I swear to God, if there was like a lumber camp counting contest, you would win.
Dude, it's important, bro. There's nothing worse than needing more farms, but also needing a new lumber camp at the same time around 15 minutes. It's the worst feeling ever.
Oh, that's a weird wall from Viper on that hill. The hill making that gold very awkward indeed. And he's forced to leave with 1 villager. But he does have the second lumber camp that he still needs to wall.
A couple houses, couple palisades. At this point, he still thinks Jordan will go for man-at-arms, but I think it was a good decision from Jordan. He canceled the man-at-arm upgrade, and he didn't make a 3rd militia, which is pretty standard here.
Mm-hmm.
He's making a stable right now? I don't like that move. I think it's a little too early.
Yeah, he only sees archers out from Viper. Only sees the archer range. Assumes he's going to be going into skirmishers. I guess was like, I don't know. It's really tough.
I
Right?
like scouts. It's just the timing on it, right? Because you know Viper's on gold. And you know he needs some archers right from the get-go to take out your militia at least. So it's not the end of the world, but when I look
The
at
problem
farms
is
now...
you're thinking about like going skirms against him, and then you see Sicilians.
Yeah, true.
So at least scouts are doing the normal amount of damage, and you're not losing out.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. As long as Jordan is able to get farms down as well. That was my only concern, because his wood efficiency will be kind of garbage, and now he put 175 wood into the stable. But also, Viper will never expect to have additional scouts out at this time, so there is that. No fletching for either player, which is a bit surprising. Viper adding the blacksmith.
The key here is for Jordan to build up enough, and yeah, he's getting them garrisoned in there. It's a surprise tactic, and you want to basically surprise your opponent. You want to show up behind them with scouts, clear up this entire army number, and then Viper can respond with maybe some spearmen. Instead of revealing them too soon. And here comes Jordan. He's got the 3rd scout on the way. It's only going to be 2 for him, plus his starting scout and the militia and some archers behind. So I think Viper will get away with a lot of this army.
Imagine how good this would have been for Jordan if his scouts came in the middle. Instead of
Yep.
showing themselves from the south, he looped around and came in from the middle. Now Viper could just add a spear, he gets a hit, and Viper can just mix in more archers. But
I just assumed that was the way he was going to do it. Why hide them and then send them in from the front?
yeah, I think he could have cleaned the whole army if he did it that way, Dave. But he does
And
push Viper
was
back.
like, Viper was coming into your gold too. You could have baited him in even harder.
Yep, I agree. They loop around. But in the end, Jordan has insane eco behind this. He's got free wheelbarrow, but Viper walling up. Good protection on the right-hand side. Viper's only
47
been...
seconds of idle TC time, though. Tisk.
That's actually really bad. He still has
It
idle
is.
CC. Oh, he's housed. That's what it is. He's housed. I would love to see Viper go for a second military building here, because he's only been producing out of his range and occasionally the barracks, whereas Jordan has been going stable and range. So Jordan has more military because of that.
Armor upgrade is coming for these scouts.
Oof.
Keep producing. Keep it going. Another one on the way. He could flood him with scouts here if Viper's not careful. He's only got 2 spearmen. He's not producing more. And there's the archers behind from Jordan. This is really risky for Viper. This is a precarious situation.
I love this from Jordan, because he could so easily play it like every other game where he tries to do the same thing as Viper, and then we find ourselves in a situation where Sicilians can counter most civs. But instead, he switched it up. He's got the armor. Viper sees the weak scouts, though. You cannot tower with Sicilians, remember. So you can only make a donjon, which is extremely awkward. And Jordan pushes Viper right off the gold.
Yep. Needs to stay away from that TC, though. Viper with some good micro against those weak scouts at the beginning. Really leveled the playing field in terms of numbers.
Yep.
Kind of evened it out. Let him hold there. So great stuff from Viper. Jordan, that was a good pushback from him. And it didn't cost that much. I mean, it cost 150 food to get the armor upgrade on his scouts. And a few extra food to get more on the field. But he has wheelbarrow. He should have a decent farming economy.
Viper
in order
just
to
got
sustain it.
infantry armor when he has one
Ooh.
spearman. Surely that's a misclick. I think he tried to go archer armor with a hotkey, and he accidentally pressed the infantry armor. But now he's adding a donjon. What is happening?
Dungeon on the secondary gold.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That
Maybe
has
he's
to have been a
thinking,
misclick.
Once I get my donjon up, I'll get some sergeants out, and those will clear up the scouts.
I mean, his army, I think Viper's army is actually the superior army right now. Because the scouts are just so weak and they lack bloodlines. Jordan didn't kill any villagers or trade against that many army numbers. But that 100 food, man, Viper's going to want that back so we can click up to Castle Age. Jordan looking good to do so himself. I like the walling from Jordan, and I like how active he is with his armies right now. Viper, though, might force Jordan into a tower. If Viper pushes forward with this army, there's no countering this right now.
I think Jordan has 2 archer ranges producing, though, and 2 of those scouts are pretty much full HP. So I think it's kind of hard for Viper to justify a push up there.
He must think he has skirm armor, though. There's no way you're fighting up this hill if you don't have skirm armor.
Yeah.
And this is really bad because he'll just assume. Wouldn't be the
He'll
worst
just
fight for
assume?
Jordan. What's that?
Nothing.
Did he click it? Am I behind you?
Nope.
Okay. Good micro from Viper there. Remember, it's hard to counter the Sicilians with any skirms. Pretty even fight. The scouts now come in. Viper has enough archers to push back the scouts, but he's got to respect it. And there goes the click up from Jordan. I like the confidence not to build the tower and just hold to the hill there.
Yeah, and I think Jordan was always going to hold that position. Okay, so roughly 10 seconds between the two players going up to the next stage. Jordan will get handcart right away, so his economy will continue to climb above Viper's. And he's still kept these scouts alive, which should help him out a little bit. That could force Viper to stay at home, maybe responding to these, assuming he doesn't just YOLO them in, which he does not. And he can drag him out of position a little bit.
Yeah, it's just so nice to have a scout just to know where his army is because both players are exposed. I think they're so good that they respect each other as Viper gets the armor upgrade now. And they just will never take a massive risk trying to sneak.
Oh no.
What's up?
The militia died to the lion.
Oh no, so sad. So Jordan could get some Vil picks here. He's going to run in with the scouts, so he separated them from the main group. But Viper's got some spears positioned. And Viper gets found by Jordan and runs away, man. This is a close game.
Yep.
Viper one win away.
I think I favor Jordan's position here just because he's going to get handcart and because he has those scouts, which could be really annoying. And it giving him a lot of vision on where Viper is.
I feel like Viper's resources are better, though. He's got 550 wood to work with. He can get every upgrade and add a siege workshop. Jordan is a bit behind when it comes to wood.
I know Viper is probably going for TCs here, right? Skirmishers and then TC. Oh, he does go for the siege workshop. Okay, here we go.
What I like about Sicilians is waiting until it gets precarious. So being aggressive, and then if you start to fall back, boom, insta TC, and then you just catch up. He's going to do it in the north, Dave. That's a really good town center. That thing will build pretty quickly. First time I've seen a donjon.
Time?
Yeah.
What's that? First time you've seen a donjon?
A donjon in King of the Desert? Yep.
I saw one. Nikov tried to forward Song with a donjon and just got absolutely destroyed.
As expected, but I guess defensively it's fine.
Well, no, because he lamed like 4 goats and an elephant from Song. So he came forward with a donjon because he's like, how could I possibly lose this game? And then Song went forward at the same time and tower rushed him and just completely like ripped him a new one. And I could just feel the tilt from Nikov in that set.
I really have to watch that one back. I didn't see that. Okay, skirms and crossbows for both, but counter units with bonus damage do less against the Sicilians. So you do favor the Sicilians in the engagements. No second TC for Jordan, and he's going ballistics and he's going siege here, Dave. I like this approach from Jordan.
Ballistics and siege. You don't really need that second TC right away with Vikings. I mean, your economy is already pretty good with the eco upgrades. I'd love to see him not go forward alone with this Mangonel. I think it's fairly risky to just be chilling out here without any reinforcements. We can see Viper almost getting a good shot. Missing completely, though, somehow. That hill kind of made that engagement a little bit weird.
And Jordan hesitated there. He was where he's standing now with his army. He was there a couple minutes ago, or seconds ago, I guess. And he hesitated. He could have denied the university. He decides to just stick around here anyways, but this has given Viper some time. Viper knows it's there now. Jordan with his siege, though, coming forward. I think this is a spot where you try and take out Viper's workshop instead of trying to maneuver through there.
I like the fact that Jordan is forcing Viper to the back of his base. So there's no risk now. And Jordan, just like you said, is going to take out the siege workshop. Jordan is also selling wood and food. And what is he selling it for? He's not queuing up anything. Is he thinking maybe... Surely he's not thinking about just clicking up, right?
On my screen, it said he bought 300 wood.
Okay.
So I think he just wanted the TC because he's spending a lot of wood. He went for the siege, ballistics, university. So
okay, he's selling food to buy wood. Okay, there we go. And there's the second and third TC.
There you go. But once Viper gets ballistics, Viper has the much better army. I know they have the same blacksmith upgrades, but actually, hold on a second. I'm really curious on how this goes, because if it wasn't Sicilians involved, the fight would be better for Jordan. But now Viper's fighting uphill. Jordan's got the scout to distract. Viper only lost 1 unit at the bottom of the hill. What? What? Love that scout movement from Jordan. He's got a few of them around, Dave, just scouting the map, trying to track the Viper.
This army is so out of place now, though. This army from Jordan is way in the corner. Viper is now heading towards his base, attempting to cut it off. No value to be had from either of these at the moment as they're maneuvering. Meanwhile, in the middle, Viper coming forward with another Mangonel. He's got some villagers, maybe looking to add another TC at the front. There we go. It goes down on the stone. And Jordan is now going to click up to Imperial Age. So he adds the couple TCs and then he goes up. And honestly, I like this play against the Sicilians because if you drag it out too long, eventually they'll get a forward castle against you. You'll be in a really tough position.
Yep.
So I think you try and get the initiative a little bit.
This is what people fear with the Vikings. It's not necessarily their feudal age, but it's their castle age into the faster imp. Viper somehow thinking the same thing here, though, Dave. He's very close. He's going to get a hand card, actually, so he's going to maybe keep this in the castle age. Big fights here. Jordan way out of position, Dave.
Shot. Yeah, nice shot from Viper. The attack ground downhill manages to clear a good portion of his army, and now Viper is on the chase. And when Jordan gets to Imperial Age, what army is he going to have? He's got some more crossbows in the queue, but most of his military was just killed there or is on the run.
You know what? It just hit me when we saw Vikings versus Sicilians. It was Viper versus MBL. And in that game, Viper did a similar thing and just fell back into defensive castles when fast Arbalest came in. Remember that?
Okay, well, I hope that Viper won't queue up Imperial Age in the 2-4 TCs this time.
Yeah, I agree. But it seems like a pretty good game plan from Viper, and it obviously worked before as he clears up that army from Jordan. And now Jordan's got 14 military, dude. That is such a pathetic number for Imperial Age. I also like rushing handcart when you're against Vikings because it just feels like you're on even ground then.
Okay.
And at 60 or 70 vills, it's completely fine.
These archer ranges are too late for Jordan. They're just going up now. He's about to hit Imperial Age. Probably needed like 4 when he clicked up just so he could keep production. It was tough though because he had to add those extra couple TCs. Like you said, his army when he reaches there is going to have like what 14 crossbows. Really underwhelming, and no one on stone either early. He just added 9 villagers on stone, so he's just now thinking about a castle. Viper already placing the castle near the gold, and Viper has 17 stone miners, so he can make another one if he needs to in a panic defense.
I feel like Sicilians were just made for Viper. Like, he always has the TC timing and castle timing right with any other civ. And now it's just, you can't even really make counter units against him. And he's just always going to be in the right spot.
Sicilians and Burgundians.
True.
Just complete Viper civs.
Yeah. I mean, there's not many civs that aren't Viper civs, to be honest. That's what makes Viper Viper, is that he's able to figure it out regardless. But he is about to lose his army here, Dave. I think he's ventured too far forward. Bracers in for Jordan. Of course, he still has ballistics, and Arbalest is on the way.
Yeah, Mangonels are looping around too, but Viper wisely doesn't fool around.
Wow.
And sends his army directly back. He's going to have the relative safety of that donjon to fall back to. And he's gone for another TC. He's gone for a 5th TC. So adding that, maybe just in case he's thinking about clicking the button. And there's the armor. He's definitely thinking about clicking the button, Tristan.
The button is First Crusade. It's like 500 food, 400 gold. It gives you 7 military units instantly from a max of 5 TCs. So that's why he's added the TCs. But Dave, am I wrong? Or should Jordan have killed that army there? I think Viper should have never been able to leave on that hill. Jordan should have split his force.
I don't think he can kill that. How does he kill the army? How does he catch up to it?
No, not now. But I mean, so Viper was in the corner. You send half your army to the hill and half your army to the TC area and just patrol in. I think anyways. But maybe I'm being too critical. Obviously, we're asking a lot of why and what if when talking about Jordan because Viper's playing so good.
Yep. And the
And
Ram
there's the
push is
castle.
coming in from Jordan. He's getting capped Ram, but Viper is going to be there. He's going to be there with Mangonels. The Sicilian castle went up in a flash. Jordan losing like a big portion of his early Imperial army. And now we're looking at the villager difference, 111 to 90. Jordan going for a forward castle. Viper will be in Imperial Age. If he sees this, he can take out this foundation early. Viper also has the military numbers advantage. It just looks really good for the Snake.
Yeah, he's getting all those upgrades. He's going to get relics now. I mean, Vikings, they needed to win the game with that army, right? There's not an awful lot about Vikings except maybe Berserks that you get excited about. And
where are the villagers coming from this? Oh, Viper's just sending them across. He made a castle foundation right near Jordan's secondary gold. And this is a purely Sicilian thing here, Tristan, where you just send the vills and you know it's going to go up, even if he sees you.
Yeah, he knows it's over. He knows Jordan doesn't have the army. He doesn't care. He's like, I can do anything. He knows he has the relics. He just saw Jordan making a castle, so he started making trebs.
Jordan made his own foundation. Mistake number one against Sicilians.
Quick,
Never
get
go up
treadmill
against
crane.
the Sicilian.
Get
What
treadmill
death is
crane.
on the line?
Oh, man, and it's probably the right play against any other Civ. Jordan laughs at it. He realizes how ridiculous this is. And Jordan's had to know for the last 5 to 10 minutes, Dave, that this is not going to be a victory for him.
He just laughs it off.
Yep.
Like, he'll still get the castle up, but he sacrificed a lot.
Petards. Viper, this would be the perfect time to get First Crusade on either side. If he gets First Crusade on the right, he snipes the trebs and takes out the castle.
Yep.
The same with the left.
Another castle behind it, too.
Yeah.
Inconceivable.
Why not? You lose half your villagers there, it just makes pop space. And Jordan's going to fight on here, I think, because he knows the end is near. Viper just needs a few more farms. He's getting those infantry upgrades. And I think we're going to see First Crusade. And what's so demeaning about First Crusade in this position is that the game has a noise for it now. So you hear, like, the Crusaders yell, "Raw!" And Jordan might even call it before he even sees them.
Does it actually?
Yeah, that and
That is haunting.
the Revolution does, yep.
I knew the Revolution did. I didn't know about the First Crusade.
Let's see if Jordan calls it right when he hears the noise. We have 10 seconds. You could argue he could call it now. He's going to hear the noise now. Oh, that would have been so funny.
It doesn't. It's the last game. It's his last chance. If he loses this, he's out of King of the Desert. He gets to play for 3rd place tomorrow, but cannot go to the grand final, and he's going for a defensive castle behind this. Viper is at 141 villagers. Jordan is at 98, and Viper is now getting Elite Sergeant, so he's going to upgrade all these wonderful units that he just got. And he'll go for the Treb on the right side right away, and he'll go for the economy down the middle with the Sergeants.
And Jordan's made a lonely Berserk. I think in theory, Elite Berserk should be the play against Elite Sergeant. I've actually never seen them fully upgraded facing off.
Berserk would win easily.
Yeah. But it's just you don't have the eco. You don't have the castles. You don't have the position. There's a lot that Jordan doesn't have right now. He probably is losing hope. And yeah, the Sergeants are all over Jordan. I'm with you. If this was game 1, he might call it, but he knows that this would be a 4-1 for Viper if he ends up calling it, and that'll be the end of his fight. And there you go.
Yeah, GG, really well played, bro. Take it home. See, love that support there from Jordan. Viper taking game number 5, and it's a 4-1. It's 2 4-1s today. I never expected that.
Well, I think we said 4-2 for Viper, right? We had a little more respect there for Jordan.
But like the opposite way around for the first set, for sure.
Exactly. Like I had 2 no doubt results in my mind today. Viper's going to win today. And Leary's going to win today. And Vinchester's like, nope. And Vinchester 4-1 Leary. For those that missed it, you'll have to watch those games. So in the final, it will be Viper, who's been there before many times. And he's been a King of the Desert champion. And then Vinchester, who has never made it that deep. I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for the 3rd place match. Because Jordan versus Leary should be pretty interesting. But I don't think there's any question on Viper deserving to make it into the final, Dave. The guy has really not met an opponent that has given him a tough task so far in King of the Desert, truthfully.
Yep. No, I totally agree. It's been, well, I mean, say my name.
That's true. That's so true. Say My Name almost beat Viper in like the round of 64. Yeah, Viper had to come back to beat him.
Dude, and that makes me so happy because I'm like one of the biggest Say My Name fans.
Same. I'm a big Say My Name fan. I just hate that we can't call him Yellow because that's what his name is. And he sticks with Say My Name.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone
All
said
right.
Viper just makes his victories feel inevitable. I agree. All about Viper. Dave, thanks for casting, bro. I think we're going to try and listen into that interview.
All right. Thanks, man. Nice to have you.
See you, man. All right, here's the interview.
And congratulations, mate. You there? Can you hear me okay?
I hear you completely fine. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I've got you, mate. Loud and clear. Good to have you along, and thanks so much for joining us. Well done on beating Jordan, although, I mean, a little bit heartless, mate, putting him in the ground like that on his birthday. Got anything to say for yourself there?
Jordan's
How could you do
birthday?
it to him?
Yeah, I mean, it's always bittersweet on someone's birthday. Obviously, I love the guy. He's probably my best
Viper's
friend inside
camera
Age
is
of
not
Empires.
in sync.
So it's always bittersweet, you know, when you play an opponent that is also your teammate.
Yeah, of course.
And,
Well, look,
especially now it's his birthday, so it's a bit sad, but at the same time, it is what it is.
yeah, I mean, look, one of you had to lose, of course, and at the end of the day, it wasn't you. So well done there. You certainly, I mean, look, we definitely got our money's worth from that set. We saw some really tight and clinical play from you, but we also saw Ballista elephants, which isn't something we
Viper
often
seems
see
so
at this sort of
sad.
level of competition. What do you think about that unit choice from Jordan there in game number 2?
It was definitely an interesting choice. I wasn't really sure I wasn't sure how. I thought I was going to be in a losing position long term that game because he had 4 relics and he had.
Why is this so
I
funny
would
to me?
say commerce should be better in post-game than Britons, but yeah, the Ballista Elephant switch definitely caught me off guard. It did really well though in the opening, but I think I found a way to cost-effectively kind of trade it down. So yeah, in the end, I would say it didn't work out for him. If he went for Siege Ram, for example, he would have definitely.
I've
had,
seen
like,
out
a
of sync before. I've
bigger
just never
potential to
seen
make
this
a
far
big
out of
push,
sync.
But Ballista Elephants, I mean, at least they're a cool unit.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's unfortunate we're not in a Ballista elephant meta, but, you know, so it goes. Let's talk about game number 3. Obviously, a couple of fumbles and stumbles there with the Bulgarians. Do you think there was anything glaringly obvious that went wrong for you? Was it the decision to go forward? Was it an execution issue? Talk to us about game 3 and how that kind of played out from your perspective.
Yeah, so I've been
Boo!
inspired by an Indian player called
Boo!
Dragonstar with a Bulgarians kind of like a small drush into a 5-minute army
Bad
power rush.
content.
And I figured on this map it might have a lot of potential.
Boring.
Unfortunately, he scouted it immediately. He knew exactly that the
Sorry.
forward was coming, so he made perfect reactions nonstop to everything I did. So I didn't have the kind of surprise factor that I was hoping for, and also the map was not ideal to forward either because his woodlines were kind of safe towards the back. So, but yeah, in the end, it was his perfect reactions that kind of shut me down.
Okay, yeah, because obviously, yeah, that was the one that I guess, yeah, him seeing it coming was a bit of a fork in the works there for you. Let's move on, and I want to talk about game number 5. I want to talk about the the elephant theft, the poaching that was taking place in the King's Forest there. What was going through your mind before you nicked that elephant from Jordan? You know, were you waiting for the right talk to us about the process from with the elephant in the early stages of that game?
So before the set, I did tell Jordan that I will treat him like anyone. I will not, just because we're friends and whatever, I will not lame him. So I will take his sheep if I find them. But I didn't say boars. So I didn't know if he would take my boars himself. But yes, like even when I was scouting his boars and saw both his elephants, I was confused because I had already taken my elephant, so it would be really late for him to now take his first elephant. Because I wasn't sure if I was lamed at that point. I still had some black spots that I had to scout. But yeah, I just had to give it a little bit more time to cover those black spots, and then I realized, okay, I'm lamed. And then luckily I was able to hit that elephant just as the arrows came in from the villager.
Yeah, right. Final thing I want to ask you about here, Viper, is, of course, your opponent in the final. It is none other than the young Russian Winchester, who has been taking names like there is no tomorrow. He has knocked out Hera, Misty Yo, Leary, the 1, 3, and 4 or 5th seeds, I believe. Top seeds, anyway. How are you feeling about coming up against this bloke? Are the nerves starting to settle in? Because he looks to be in great touch. How are you feeling about tomorrow's match against Winchester?
It's going to be interesting. Winchester, obviously, he has been a very good player for a long, long time, but this is probably his, even though he has had like top 4 finishes in the past, the fact that he's now gotten there to the final now by beating those types of players is, it's a really huge achievement for him. And yeah, I was sure Lyra would win that set. and then to have Winchester win that so dominantly is really impressive. So yeah, it should be a really interesting set tomorrow. I'm hoping to come out ahead, but yeah, I gotta. I haven't looked at Winchester's games in detail because I never expected him to be in the final. No offense to him as a player, obviously.
That's
but
fair,
If I've
honestly.
been watching games, I've been more looking at towards Leary, Hera, Yo,
Mhm.
these guys, right? But yeah, Winchester definitely proved me and many other people wrong here by an amazing performance.
Well, it sounds like you've got some homework to do then, Viper. Got to go and watch the tapes, get inside Winchester's head for the big match. Huge match, of course, tomorrow. Viper, thanks for joining us. We cannot wait to see you performing in tomorrow's final.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the interview. Sorry, I was making some jokes during that. It was just too funny for me. Good interview from Viper. I think he shed some light on some of the things that happened there. I'll just give you guys kind of my final take before the final happens tomorrow. I think Viper is going to absolutely crush Winchester. Truthfully. So the first semi was freaking awesome. And the second semifinal was also awesome. And they were both 4-1s. But I felt like the first series was a bit sloppier overall than the final series was. Like Jordan had a really good series. Granted, he did have a few sloppy games too. Let's not kid around. But like anytime Jordan was sloppy, Viper punished him massively today. It will be Winchester again as the underdog. He, of course, was the underdog against Yo, against Hera, and against Leary. But that's my current feeling after seeing the semifinals today. I'd love to be proven wrong. But that's kind of my final take on that. It's a best of 9 final, so there should be a lot of games regardless. Nicking maybe Viper 5-1 or Viper 5-2 in the King of the Desert 4 finals.